Hey everyone, and welcome to Vassals of Kingsgrave, who are getting through this pandemic lockdown by going back and watching nostalgia films that make us feel happy. So today we are watching the Two Towers extended edition, so the middle film of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. My name is Bina007, I'll be your host, and obviously we'll try and cue you up, but otherwise you can just let us listen to us banter on. Regardless, today I am joined by Adam.
Hey, this is Adam, also known as DrownedSnow.
By Matt.
Varley on whatever we post on anymore.
By Peter.
Hi, this is Shellfish. I'm known as Peter on the Skypes.
And by Nadia.
Hi everyone, this is Nadia.
And we also have Mary today.
Hi, I'm Mary, and Nymeria on the forums.
So, for the listener at home, we're watching the extended edition, so you should have something that is 3 hours, 55 minutes, and 22 seconds long. We're going to count down 3, 2, 1, go, and on the go you hit play, and hopefully we're all in sync. So, if everyone's ready, 3, 2, 1, go. And you should be getting the New Line Entertainment logo and some pretty ominous sounding music.
Blue light coming from behind it.
Yeah.
Yep.
A Time Warner Company from when that existed. Worst merger in history.
New Line Cinema presents.
Yep. Sounds like we're all on a page. What's Peter Jackson doing lately? What's Wingnut Films
It
up
wasn't for AOL.
to? The Lord of the Rings. I love this music.
Yeah, me too. I've rewatched them like months ago.
Is that Gollum's theme or like the Rings theme or?
I think it's the Rings. So who's been rereading over the lockdown? Mary, have you been rewatching or rereading since all this began?
Rewatching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including
I'm like
the
halfway
Hobbits.
through Fellowship.
On a reread?
Yeah, on a reread.
I started reading the Silmarillion recently for the first time. It's been enjoyable.
Ah, so you're
If you can make it past like the first 4 or 5 chapters, it's really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole like creating the world sequence, but the sort of elven families and with all the names and the different names of the peoples weren't so interesting.
Forgot this starts with a flashback. The Balrog.
Yeah, it gets a little brutal.
That's
what
so
time
weird.
are you guys on? My thing's finally working.
Gandalf is fighting the Balrog.
At
158 now.
159 to...
Yeah, the Silmarillion, I'll admit, I've never finished. I
2-4.
should, but
208.
But there are parts of the Silmarillion that are pretty amazing. Like, they're seriously epic. And everyone
Yeah.
should give it a try. Like,
I feel like I just lived it through listening to you guys talk about it. So,
oh yeah, the Silmarillion podcast was actually very comprehensive. Like,
Thank
if
you.
I
listen
really
to that,
enjoyed those, and I've,
you know
you've got like
most
Tolkien Professor and other people that have done stuff that have been really good. So
I find the Tolkien Professor is just too long. Like, it's just too much.
I liked on the Silmarillion podcast when we realized that the dragon didn't have wings and it just blew our minds.
Okay, for the listener, Gandalf is now flying down some gaping hole and with a knife.
With Glamdring.
Yeah,
I've
with
only had
Glamdring.
3.
How do you guys feel
him and the
about the
Balrog are going all the way down to Goblin Town.
I actually wish they hadn't shown this because I find it very unbelievable. A bit like the pirates at Helm's Deep. Like, it's a bit James Bond. Like, you know that
Well,
James Bond movie, the
the
first
moment-
Pierce Brosnan one, where he jumps out of the plane and somehow lands in the car perfectly?
I'm not a huge fan of like showing the 100-mile drop or whatever this is. I mean, sure, he survives fine, but I'd rather you show him falling briefly and
I
then
like this scene.
you cut to them, this part would be fine, right? They're falling into this giant
Yeah,
lake
this
or
is a
whatever.
very cool visual, but I don't need
Yeah.
to see
It's
Gandalf
impressive.
as an action hero.
Yeah, it's sort
Yeah.
of inconsistent with his character so far, I feel like.
I don't mind a bit of that. I think that like the falling is way, way too long.
I think it's also where you can see Gandalf is not just like the other characters. Is more than that.
Well, also it establishes that he's still alive, right?
No, that's
Yes.
true.
Do you think anyone actually watched Fellowship and thought he was dead?
I'm sure there had to be some.
I mean, I had no concept of anything in these movies, so
Yeah,
I mean, I think
probably
I
did
think I
too.
probably
Yeah,
did. I don't
exactly.
remember, but
I hadn't read the movie, so I thought Gandalf was dead.
So were you shocked
Yeah.
when you watched this movie and found out he was alive?
I think by this point, by the time Two Towers came out, I had read the books.
Oh, remember Galadriel's box that she didn't give Sam?
Oh yeah,
There it is.
the seed.
So is this the elven rope?
I do believe
see,
it is.
I remember like they had freaking cups with like Gandalf the White on it. So like going to see Two Towers, like there was like product placement everywhere. Like you were like, oh yeah, Gandalf's back. What's that about? Like you never really thought he was dead.
Yeah, I wonder if
I
he
mean,
was in the
the
trailer.
books have been out for like 40 years, right? So
Yeah, no, but I mean, I hadn't read them between the first movie and the second movie. I went with like friends to like a midnight screening for Two Towers, and my friends, we were there like hours early to get a seat because that's what you did back then. And like they were sitting there reading the books while we were waiting, but I just knew because like the posters and stuff had Gandalf.
yeah, so I guess that wasn't Galadriel's box. It was a box of salt from the Shire. I'm about to finish a Hobbit reread, and it's so weird how the movies completely corrupted my memory of the book.
The movie?
Oh, they're nothing alike. Like you shouldn't.
No. Yeah.
I feel like the unexpected party is pretty good in the film, but after that it's hit
It
and miss.
is, yeah. I've read the book so many times that I feel like I'm still pretty solid on it, but
Yeah, I haven't done a proper reread of that book in a long, long time. So
that's one my son and I probably should start soon. He's the right age for that. But I did watch that.
My daughter is at the age that she's.
Was it
now
like the
interested
Tolkien
in
cut of The
theater.
Hobbit or whatever that someone did that was like 3.5 hours long from the movies? Like that wasn't bad.
Yeah, I watched that with friends, but it was the quality was pretty bad for it.
Yeah, it wasn't very good quality. And you know they can't put stuff in there that wasn't filmed, obviously. So there's only so much they can do.
Yeah, it was kind of funny, like how big of a part of the movie they cut. Like, I think they jump from Goblin Town to like Bjorn's house, and that's like half the first movie or something like that.
Yeah, that works for me. I mean, I felt like at the end of the first movie, there were things that I didn't like that they were doing, but I was like, you could finish this up in one movie if you did it right. And then he's like, we're making 3.
yeah,
And yeah, because we got to have whoever the master of the town. Who is the
Alfred.
Alfred? Yeah, gonna have an hour's worth of Alfred and Legolas content.
So I think last time we were discussing which parts we skip through, and these are some of the parts that I usually skip through when I'm
What,
rewatching
Sam and
the
Frodo
movies.
Seven
Just
photos of
walking and walking. Yeah.
eating
You mean
lemon
the
whole
bread and
second
being
half of Two
homosexual? This is really annoying. So on Apple TV, I could put on subtitles in Cantonese or Bulgarian, but I can't put them on in English. So I need to keep this in.
What?
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
have English subtitles. Which sucks. Oh, and it's like miserable because they're always like wet and hungry. This is why I gave up geography in school, because you'd have to go on like field trips and camp in tents in England where it's always wet and miserable.
what? That's geography in England?
Yeah, there's a lot of field trips
Oh my God! I love
Oh, that
this.
sounds nice actually.
to collect
Kind of
soil
learning by
samples,
doing.
like all the geology type stuff and all the orienteering and Yeah.
But that sounds like fun. You're not just sitting in a classroom and just reading a book.
I like just sitting in a nice, warm, dry place and reading a book.
And reciting state capitals and country capitals.
So how do you guys like the rocks in this scene?
Cool.
They're pretty gnarly, huh? I think they filmed this on the side of like an active volcano, which is where all the mist and smoke is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm confusing that with Mount Doom. I might be.
But those look pretty volcanic to me. I mean, Gollum.
So this is our first real look at Gollum.
Yeah, it's interesting how we only meet Gollum and the Rohirrim in the second movie, even though they're like such a big part of the series. But
Oh, I can't wait for the Rohirrim scenes. I love those.
Yay. They,
yeah,
Yeah, Rohan's the best.
yeah, it's kind of the beating heart of the
We used to
the
have like,
Aragorn
the
plot. At least.
replica of Theoden's sword somewhere. I think I
it
got
also
rid of
has
it.
the best music.
Totally.
Yeah. The violins.
So for the listener at home, Gollum's currently trying to sort of like grab the ring of Frodo slash,
Jump off the top ropes for the elbow
you
drop.
know, get into it with hero Sam. Gollum's surprisingly big, actually. Like, he's basically Hobbit-sized, right? Ah!
Well, he's
Yeah.
He's
like,
mentioned as being a
he's
creature
emaciated,
that was
but-
very like a hobbit.
yeah. Who are the stores that like the water? The hobbits that like the water? There's like 3 types of hobbits.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
Fallow
said
hides.
to be a store. I'm not sure if it was meant to be that they all the hobbits lived on the banks of the Anduin and migrated to the Shire after Gollum became Gollum, I guess. I don't know how old the Shire is.
I think the first hobbits, they say in the books that the first hobbits settled in Bree and then went to the Shire, but I think Gollum's supposed to be like 500 years old. So I imagine the Shire's as old as that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I'm
Right.
sure you can find that out in the appendices.
All right. So now they've got Gollum tied up, and Frodo's showing some pity on him. I think I was surprised by how many comments we got of people saying like, "Hey, I just listened to this like audio commentary while I was doing something else." So we'll try to be like maybe a little better at like saying what we're actually looking at from time to time.
Right. Good.
Did anyone
Good
just notice that Gollum's loincloth has many holes in it and you can't see his genitals?
those rubbed off a long time ago, Varley.
Thank you, Varley. I actually find that scene very, very sad. Like, well, not right now, but just before when he's crying and
Yeah, he's a
Varley, why
pretty
were you
pathetic
trying to see
character.
Gollum's genitals?
Don't worry about that, Jack.
Now, if this had been made a little later in the Hobbit movie era, I'm sure Jackson would have included it.
If anyone was wondering what I look like with long hair at this point, it's basically Gollum's.
Ooh, nice.
You're like not even trying to comb it over.
No, not even a little bit.
That's like what's the guy from Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Carl.
Carl, yeah. Hey, Gollum's little loincloth has like a coin purse or something.
Why are you concentrating so much on Gollum's loincloth?
One purse.
Well, I mean, this movie's won awards for the costume design, so it's only fair that we focus on it.
But I mean, Frodo and Sam
Now,
have
do you
costumes
think Andy
too.
Serkis wore the loincloth to get into character?
God, I hope so.
Frodo's clothes look like pajamas. Like they're all the same color. I hadn't noticed that before. Must be comfortable.
I do really like. I mean, like, obviously we give Andy Serkis a lot of credit. I mean, over the years he's done a lot of great work. And I do really like the way he does, like, the kind of like coughing up a hairball thing here, like the signature Gollum move.
Sam is kind of a dick to him, though.
But is it
He is.
unwarranted though?
It is, but it's still painful to watch.
I mean, what did Gollum ever do to Sam?
Well, he tried to kill his friend.
He's tricksy. Come on, man.
Fair, that's fair.
And now we finally see where Merry and Pippin have been taken.
They haven't been eaten yet. Mordor orcs compared to...
Yeah, is anyone else surprised they haven't just like started snacking on them, you know, like eating legs or something?
Well, in the books,
Well,
that's
Saruman's-
how...
Well, these are Uruk-hai, right? And they're supposed to be better trained than the normal orcs.
Well,
So I'm
the
assuming
Uruk-hai
they're
are
taking-
for Saruman.
Oh yeah, I guess they're keeping
Yeah,
the
exactly.
goblins
So
away.
they're taking them back to Saruman, right? So I'm pretty sure he gave very strict orders that they weren't to be hurt before they were brought back.
Yeah, I think we're given to
Wasn't
understand
that-
that the Uruk-hai are more disciplined and sort of fanatically loyal than the normal orcs.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't that the whole fight? The point of the whole fight between the Uruk-hai and the orcs was that the orcs
Yes,
wanted
they
to
want to
get-
eat them in the...
Yeah.
Yeah. The Uruk-hai are like, nope.
I always imagine that orc stuff is like Jägermeister or something. Kind of looks the same.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Looks
of
like
syrupy.
meat's back on the menu.
Syrupy and will wake you out of whatever pain you're in.
Those orc prosthetics and the mask they're wearing, I mean, those look pretty cool, and all the different kinds of designs they have, like very grotesque and monstrous, but cool at the same time.
Yeah, it's not hokey at all. I like it.
Yeah, they look quite lifelike.
I heard that they put out a casting call for the Amazon Lord of the Rings show of ugly people and people with like prosthetics and stuff. So they're looking for like one-legged people and like one-armed people to play orcs.
So all of those actors that sang that like they'd give their arm to break into Hollywood.
Exactly.
Oh, look at that tricksy shit there. Detective work. Pippin just spitting out his elven leaf brooch. Oh, look at that. Aragorn in communion with the earth.
Oh, is this the scene?
It
Is
is.
this the scene?
It is.
Where the Rohirrim come in and they make the circle. Oh my god, I love that.
No, they come in a bit later, I think.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
still
like
have to
that.
Yeah, I
get
think
a
we're.
couple
Carl,
more times.
Carl Urban's hair blowing in the wind.
But
I think there's
Yeah.
a fair bit more just aimless running.
yeah. And this is
Yeah,
one
you
of
got to get the running
Yeah.
montages in.
We've got to have a few Gimli running.
Oh man,
jokes.
this I love these though. Like the three of them running, I'm fine with that anytime.
And the
you know?
music,
Epic
and the
music.
music
Yeah.
just makes it all so much better.
And Gimli always like a little bit behind, but looks like he's working harder than anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
you
epic
know,
music
dwarves are
and
natural
sweeping
sprinters.
landscape.
And they're such douchebags. They don't like decide we'll just hold back a bit and run together. Like, no, we'll just run ahead the whole day.
Well, they're trying to motivate him so he moves faster.
You can't motivate someone into growing longer legs.
Yeah.
Legolas is clearly holding back and letting Aragorn run ahead though, because Legolas could outpace him, right?
Not lightly do the leaves of Lorien fall. So cool.
Yeah, God, I love that phrasing.
Aragorn takes
Sorry.
himself so seriously.
It's like the last time I
This
In
is
read
the
reality,
line.
you would be like
Short
jumping up and down, going,
distances.
guys, I found Pippin's leaf. They're alive.
Holy shit!
In reality, you would just start walking and be like, well, I'll catch up when I catch up, jerks.
Yeah, exactly. Try and capture a passing goat and ride that.
Like, what kind of fucked up landscape is that?
Don't be
Looks
rude
like someone
about New
just, like-
Zealand, boo. We're gonna lose like our one New Zealand listener.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, how does that happen? It looks like someone just like cast a bunch of rocks like aimlessly.
How does it exist, like,
Yeah.
on one island with all this different stuff?
Yeah, I
New
don't
Zealand, man, if
Glaciers?
someone told me you got to go to another country, I think that'd be it.
I mean, they have 0 cases of
And
COVID,
here it
so
is.
that's nice.
They're not gonna let you in now.
They didn't let people in before this.
Man,
They got no
really did
COVID.
it.
They got surf. They got mountains. They got skiing. They got
They
They
planes.
let
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert in. Did you guys ever seen the Colbert episode where he goes to New Zealand and meets
Oh,
the
and
Prime
totally nerds
Minister
out.
and just goes to her back garden and has like a sausage cookout?
Yeah.
Well,
She's so
there was a
cool.
big trend the last few years of like billionaires like buying apocalypse homes on New Zealand and like getting citizenship in a day because they threw some money around. So they were changing laws to make that much harder to get citizenship.
Those are only for the billionaires that haven't bought into Super Earth that they'll all move to.
This is a brilliant piece of model making, isn't it?
Pandemic conquers. Oh yeah.
It's beautiful.
So now,
Look at
listener,
that.
we're seeing
That
Saruman
evil
and his
eye.
Palantir communicate with the eye of Sauron.
And the Isengard music.
Mordor, more trees going down to the pit. I mean, to me, like that, the shot right here might be actually the same shot they used in Fellowship of like trees falling down to the pit of Isengard.
I think
Yeah,
this
I
bit
think
of
it is.
dialogue is almost taken from one of Tolkien's letters or something.
The old world will burn in the forest fires of industry.
Yeah.
That one.
And I know we talked about like the birthing of the Uruk-hai with like the gross, latex probably, womb or whatever.
Yeah, didn't we
I
see
think it really
this?
works.
Yeah, this is
Didn't we
definitely
already see this in
recycled.
Fellowship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that particular one is a little different. The first, the one in Fellowship was like the big Uruk-hai kind of hero-looking dude.
Yeah.
But I think some of that footage definitely was recycled.
Or maybe like didn't make the theatrical cuts, they used it here, not realizing that they would then have extended editions.
Oh, maybe.
Ah,
I like this,
Fangorn.
like boss orc here, the overseer. Do those orcs kind of have like
stupid wild men.
British
Yeah.
accents?
You know these men are real evil when they like do like some blood in front of Saruman, and they had to walk through a camp full of goblins and Uruk-hai.
Oof, look at those
Look at his
gems.
teeth.
That actor looks like the same actor who plays Isildur.
It does. doesn't
Oh,
it?
it could be.
They just recycle some extras. Wild.
Yeah, I do like this. Him just like rabble rousing the crazy bearded dudes.
Yeah, it's a
Timid
whole
son of Timid.
army of Hagrids.
That's right. Where are the storm crows and the
West Tyrion.
where's Shagga?
Shagga, son of Ulf. Oh, this is like a nice bit, like just Rohan villages, just so gorgeous.
So is this like
Look,
the West?
I mean, except they're all running for their lives, but other than that.
Yeah.
Peasanty rural areas. I love it.
well, Rohan was
These are
supposed to
basically
be
abandoning their mother, but that's fine.
Rohan was supposed to be like Tolkien's throwback to Anglo-Saxon England, except with horses, because he laments the fact that they could have repelled the Normans or something if they had a cavalry.
Yeah,
Oh,
horses are
interesting.
useful.
Because I mean, in the movies, they have a very like Nordic feel to them. The design, anyway.
Yeah. If they were on ships, they'd definitely call them like Vikings more than Saxons. Oh, Theodred, we hardly knew thee.
This is a good additional scene. I like this one.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this an extra scene? I don't remember.
It
this
is,
one
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, I think so.
It actually
Yeah,
feels
I can
quite
confirm.
Song of Ice and Fire, Riverlands.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, coming across all these corpses.
And the rain, just the rain makes it Riverlands.
What is he looking for here?
Well,
He's
Theodred?
Theodred.
trying to find
Theoden's son, Theodred.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I think he just said find the king's son, but I guess we're not hearing.
Well, we've been
that
talking,
much.
so that's like you're not supposed to talk during movies, and that's. What
But
we're
at least
doing.
in this movie, he gets a line. In the books, I think we're just told that he's dead.
Yeah. He died at the
Oh, there we
forge or
go.
something like that.
Yeah.
He has no goatee. Are we sure he's actual Prince of Rohan?
He hasn't earned his goatee yet.
He's a spy.
Where and when are they finding the
In the
chance
book.
to shave themselves? The
I mean,
Gillette
he looks
moment.
very young here, but in
They
the
got
books, he's
knives.
supposed to be much older than Ilmer.
This set design is fantastic.
I love
it's
this
beautiful.
so much. Like, look at the carvings on the pillars. Look
I
at the
know.
carvings on the
Yeah.
walls. It's just, this is my favorite set ever. I want to just live in this set.
But I think this scene is like it's
Yeah.
real shame that they cut it from the theatrical cut. I think the first time we see Eomer in the theatrical cut is when he meets Aragorn, and this like gives him
No, this scene was in the movie.
Is it?
No,
This wasn't the original cut.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think this was it?
No, this wasn't in
I
the
think this
theatrical
was.
cut.
we have to see Elmer being banished. That's an
Yeah,
important
it
part,
was in
right?
the scene. It wasn't.
No, but the earlier part
Yeah.
with them and him and Eowyn there, that earlier scene.
Yeah, the earlier part
The
is,
one
but
where
this
they're
one
trying
is,
to
and we are
find-
meeting Elmer here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one where they're trying to find Theodred wasn't in the movie, but this one was.
Brad Dourif is amazing.
Yeah, he's so fucking slimy.
He just has the face for this role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got genre superhero Carl Urban being like, you need to protect your people. And Wormtongue over there just whispering in his ear.
I forget who suggested it, but like Brad Dourif was like, "Yes, of course, shave my eyebrows off so I could look even creepier."
It works for the aesthetic. No need to use makeup, just shave them.
Lay these troubles on an already troubled mind.
Oh, there we go. The sexual perversion.
Yeah.
He thought he was gonna shag.
Not
her.
even subtle about it.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of feel sorry for Grimo because he's just so like undesirable and nasty. And how is he ever gonna get the lovely, beautiful princess?
Yeah, he wouldn't get the princess, but he
Through
could,
machinations and
he could find someone who had a daughter that needed to socially climb, right? I don't know.
That's a great line as well. Too long have you watched my sister haunted her steps. I think
Yeah.
that's from the Houses of Healing in the books, but they give it to Eomer here, which is more powerful than when it comes from Gandalf in
Yeah.
the book.
they also used it with the line like, "Who knows what she spoke to the darkness in the long watches of the night." Oh boy.
Ooh, wax
Nice signature.
seals. Speaking of wax seals, shout out to
If you
Wilson.
I mean,
He's been
the
like
detail
sending out,
they've
like,
gone on
little
this,
birthday
the
gifts with
signature,
wax seals.
Theoden's signature on that paper, it tells you that that person was not in complete control. How it just kind of trails off in the end. Like the attention to detail is just amazing.
That's
Right.
like how I sign any sort of transaction machine, though.
I was just about to say that it's like how demented
I'm like,
people
you are
sign.
not worth. Sometimes I will say "f you" or "this doesn't matter" or the whole like signing at the point of transaction thing is such BS. But that's not how I'd sign a legal document. But you see movies back in the day, like you make your mark, like someone puts their X or something because they're illiterate. And it's like, how do you prove who did it? Like, how is that? I don't know. Here we go. The
Mistake.
orc party right by the forest.
Oh, the trees. I love when nature fights back.
Like coronavirus.
Yeah, man.
So currently we're at 28 minutes and 30 seconds. For anyone keeping track.
Yep. Pippin and Merry plotting their escape.
Oh yeah, they know all about Ents and the borders of Buckland, apparently.
Yeah. Like necessary exposition that we need to get from someone. I like this weird pale blue skin that this orc has. Like, it's almost like an azure.
I think it's meant to be reflecting the moonlight.
I think so, right? It's like more of like to make them pop at night.
Yeah, that one's very sort of Nosferatu-like. I like the design as well.
My son's never seen Lord of the Rings. He's over here playing Fortnite on his Nintendo Switch and like looking up, and I think he's horrified right now.
He should be. It's meant to be horrific, isn't it? I mean, this is another one of those brain-dead Peter Jackson moments where he's just taking a lot of fun in these misshapen, ghoulish creatures. It's almost like dark comedy in a way, the pettiness of their fights.
Yeah, sort of banal evil kind of.
It's not that petty. Like, that hobbit tastes delicious.
Meat's back on the menu.
There's a lot of jokes about that line that implies that orcs know what a menu is.
Yeah.
Never thought about that aspect.
That's amazing.
Table for two at Mordor's finest.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So good.
A hobbit lay here, and then here, as the horses trampled them.
I love a sub baddie fight or an intra baddie fight.
Yeah, the way
Especially
the
one that gives
writers
Gandalf
come in
time to
is kind of
arrive.
interesting
Or,
because-
I'm sorry, to appear.
I mean, the way the writers come in is kind of interesting because it isn't like that classic, like, heroic cavalry charge where they save the day because they are also a danger to the hobbits. That it's kind of like they're just observing it.
Jeez, how like serious is Legos? It's just like it's a red sun. There's blood tonight. You're like, what the hell's going on, dude? Like, yeah, I feel it. Lots of people died tonight. Oh, here's the shot you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Here we go, motherfuckers. Riders of Rohan.
This is the best part. No one notices them, and then they just step out. He's like, hold on,
It's
turn around.
the elven
turn around.
cloaks. It's the elven cloaks.
Yeah. I just find that fun that he just like walks out and they all just like turn heel real quick without even looking back.
I love how like petulant Gimli is coming up.
So many horses. Hey, we're all humans here. Gimli.
You rascal.
He's my favorite.
Like, Gimli has no issue with the fact he's surrounded by horsemen who are like triple his size. I can
Oh,
take
he
you
has
all.
zero fucks to give.
He has such balls. He has the balls of Tony Soprano.
Just look at his.
Chill, Legolas, chill. I was just peacocking over here, all right?
Just look at Ilmer's helmet. Like, it has a horse head. It's beautiful.
Nadia's on
It's got
armor
horse hair
watch.
coming off the top.
I'm on loincloth watch.
I feel this is definitely like Nadia's porn, like helmet porn. Is that the most beautiful helmet
Oh
you've
no,
ever
he takes it
seen?
off.
You're like, did he just take his helmet off or his hair? I can't tell.
Don't take your helmet off.
You noticed none of the Fellowship wears a helmet.
Look at even the horse's armor. Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they spent a lot of time on this stuff. They did a great job. Are you implying Legolas is a spy?
Scary fairy creature, so it's right to be suspicious.
Two hobbits. They look like children once they were digitally reduced.
But in the books, the words of Rohan, I think Mary even writes a book about the similarities between the words used in the Shire and the words used in Rohan, because they're referred to as hoblitas in the language of Rohan. So they would probably know what the word hobbit is and what they are.
Close enough. Huh.
Yeah. Boom! Super nerd knowledge dropped.
Drop it. That's the good content, Varley. That's why people are listening to this but not watching the movie.
Honestly, what I was like, I looked at the YouTube channel. It was like 190 views. I'm like, who the fuck is listening to this on YouTube?
What was going on with his sword there that was just like falling out of his sheath?
Yeah, it just falls out.
I never noticed that. His sword just like fell off as he mounted.
Yeah, I noticed that a few years ago.
I can understand, especially if you've seen these movies a bunch and you want to listen to. I've listened to like director commentary and stuff like in the background while I'm doing other stuff, and I'm not necessarily watching the movie. Maybe I'm just like, I want to hear what they have to say, and I'll peek over when it seems interesting. I mean, that's what a lot of us do nowadays. Like we have stuff that we watch and we sit down and we pay attention, and then we have other stuff that's just sort of background that we like.
You know what? I'm totally like that way. My wife is not. She can't listen to like music with words in it while reading. I'm like, how can you not do that? Like,
I'm the same actually.
What I love to do.
Yeah, I find that problematic.
I can't.
Yeah, some people are just built that way. I mean, I think it's just the way their brains process. I mean, and there's something to be said for the fact that you just sit down and give something your full attention. Like, I mean, that's probably better for for retention, for enjoyment.
I can multitask, and often I work on a piece of music that I'm editing while listening to some other music. But reading and music with words, I agree, that's hard.
Yeah, I feel like I get less done. But
I feel like this is so contrived. This scene with Aragorn.
Oh, his little Sherlock moment.
No, I mean that's fine. I think you could.
Yeah, there's no chance
deduce that.
Like the Benedict Cumberbatch moment.
Yeah, it's just missing like the overlay of angles and formulas and stuff.
Do you guys not believe in tracking?
I do, but I
do. I just feel like it was such a trip. Like he was so pissed off. He kicks a helmet. He looks down, and then there it is.
I mean, he in real life breaks his foot on said helmet.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. When he kicked the helmet.
The scream is
in real life.
Or something. Yeah.
Their bones are cut. Yes, I see it.
But to me, like they. But
to me the area's been so trampled over. I feel like the trail would not be, especially because hobbits. You talk about how they move through the forest unheard, and like they can go without leaving a trail. So.
And I think in the books it's established that like Aragorn's like the best tracker and hunter ever. And I don't think we got that information in the movies.
We just got that he was like a mysterious dude with a hood smoking a pipe. He's a ranger. I don't think people know what that is if they don't know what that is. And how old is he when we start the quest? It's like 70 or something.
I think he's in his 80s.
80s.
Who, Aragorn? I think he's 82.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's in one of the extended scenes. So that's probably coming up.
Yeah, that and
So that might have been in Return of the King. I'm not sure.
No, it's
So
it's
is this
the
a
scene
set?
with Eowyn, and it's in
Yeah, it's with
the Two
Eowyn when
Towers.
they're having the stew or something.
Yeah,
yeah, they're going
exactly.
to Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm assuming Fangorn here is a set, right?
You know what? I don't know.
I'm not sure if
Looks
is
pretty
this
real.
like there's like a real place that looks like this in New Zealand.
I love how they did the Ents. They could have come out so hokey and like campy, and they look amazing.
And it's held up really well, I feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean,
Yeah.
you do feel them as like a real. They feel like a tree even when they're moving around. You know, they're very barky. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, there's a sort of tactile sense to them.
yeah.
Or him, I think. Because he's really the only one we see close up.
So the
Bird.
deep booming voice of Treebeard was supposed to be modeled after Tolkien's friend C.S. Lewis.
Was
Huh.
it?
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever heard C.S. Lewis speak, so I wouldn't. That's not what I would have expected from him. But
Matt, you're impressed. I mean, I'm impressed. So many knowledge. So much knowledge. Sorry.
Yeah.
you know, I actually have heard clips of Lewis like reading from excerpts from his book. I think, and he does have kind of a very deep voice.
I want a tea humidor.
What?
Someone just sent me a gift idea for a mutual friend of ours. It's a tea humidor. It's the sort of thing that you don't know you want until you see that it exists, and then you think, yes, this is the thing I need.
Is this in my life? No, it's about to be.
I'll send you guys
I
a link.
recently saw a cheese humidor, Pina. So when you make your own cheese, you can age it properly. I want one of those.
See, I like even when Treebeard's moving, his like the limbs, the bends at the knees, the elbows still seem very wooden. Like it doesn't just suddenly get like kind of plasticky and smooth, and like it still seems like it's very stiff even though it's bending.
Agreed. And his proportions are pretty wacky as well, but he still comes across as sympathetic. Doesn't look creepy.
I think, and the fact that they've given him a beard, like a proper beard, so that kind of covers his mouth, which stops it looking like plasticky, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Merry and Pippin know a lot of shit that you wouldn't maybe have expected them to know. Ents and Saruman. They've probably, they were on the quest for a while, They chatted about stuff. Mordor always looks like it's just over a hill. You can see like the red lightning over there, and you're like, it can't be that far.
Yeah, like how did they reach it so quickly?
Well, you can see the plane of like the dead marshes, but like I just don't understand how like everyone's surprised that Sauron like rose again when like you can obviously see this like red lightning fire behind the Evil Mountains.
Yeah, and from so far away.
When did that start showing up again? Something bad is happening over there.
Yeah. It might be time to gear up, guys. So, like,
I mean, they were trying to kind of occupy that land, or they were pushing that way for years. But I mean, there were still orcs and things in the.
Well, they'd say like the Watch failed. Like they used to occupy like Minas Ithil and like some fortresses.
They'd lost a lot of ground.
Witch King being in Minas Morgul since the last king of Gondor, at least. So I mean, the Mordor has been occupied by Sauron's servants at least.
Yeah, one of the kings of Gondor like had a wrestling match with him or something in Minas Ithil and never came back.
What?
For a single combat and never came out.
Yeah.
The way Varley makes it sound like they greased up and went at it.
Yeah. Well, he did with like a small company of people, and then they just never were seen again. It's good. Good appendice stuff.
Oh, poor Gollum.
He can't eat hobbit food.
He's so funny. He's like a little 3-year-old at this point. It's so cute.
Yeah, like Gollum reminds me of my son here. He's like, "Yeah, I'm starving." I'm like, "Well, you actually do look like you're starving, but like, why isn't it if he was a creature like similar to a hobbit? Why can't he eat hobbit food?" Like,
Well, I think it's like
over the
wholesome,
years,
good food that
yeah, it doesn't agree with
conflicts
him
with
anymore.
his evil belly.
In
Too
that
nourishing.
case, it's more elvish food than hobbit, really, I think.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's lembas bread, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe because the power of the elves or something, it just would like it's like holy water to him, or I don't know.
Well, he does say that the rope burns him
Yeah.
since it was twisted by nasty little elves twisted it.
To me, that's the same aversion, the rope and the lembas bread. Which doesn't explain why, but it's not hobbit food specifically.
Yeah, I suppose Gollum has a personal antipathy toward the elves, but it might be the sort of the evil of the ring changing him as well, that it sort of suffused his being that he can't bear the touch of elven things. Kind of the same with the orcs.
Oh, this is so sad. The idea that this is like Tolkien's interpretation of trench warfare always makes me feel very sad. Did any of you watch the movie with Nicholas Hoult about the fictional version of Tolkien's school years and university?
I heard it was terrible, so I skipped it.
See, I did watch it and I found it quite moving. I mean, it's not the world's best movie, but I actually really responded to it.
Because I think it's on like Amazon Prime or something right now. I remember seeing it because I skipped it in the theater because of the bad reviews, and I remember seeing it a couple months ago and considering it. The Tolkien movie.
Oh, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it was kind of hokey at times, but I did kind of like how it drew comparisons between what he witnessed in World War I and like some of the images that we get in these movies, especially. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, just give the ring to the dead.
This bit is so cool. But lightly done, like not as crazy as the pirates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the kind of like Peter Jackson horror kind of nod too, right?
When you say the pirates, are you meaning like the Ghost Army?
Yeah, sorry, I know they're
the
not
dead
really
men.
pirates. It's just all very
like-
Johnny Depp kind of Pirates of the
Because
Caribbean.
because there are literally pirates later on. Like
Yeah,
like
no.
the Ghost
I don't
Army
mean
kills,
the
yeah.
pirates. I mean the dead beeps.
That's how I was like, the Peter Jackson pirates or the dead? Yeah, the Army of the Dead. Look, I used to. What was that? Battle for Middle Earth or whatever, the real-time strategy game. You could call in the Ghost Army if you played. I think you had to play Gondor. They would definitely. They definitely do some damage.
Okay, but
Oh, the
listener at
fingernails.
home, Frodo's now stroking the ring in a very suggestive, semi-erotic way.
Look at those fingernails. Oh.
Back to the fingernails.
Hey, I could go back to a loincloth if we need to.
You have yet to comment on Gollum's nails, so,
Have we seen them?
we just did.
So what Gollum is singing right there was what the,
Hashtag double standard, Varley. I guess like all of Gollum is a nasty fingernail, so
In fairness, I do normally fast forward through these scenes, but I think it's kind of really interesting that I guess at this point Frodo's actually starting to understand what it is to be Gollum and what it is to be a ring bearer, and maybe
Yeah.
empathy and growth. It's all
How,
about personal growth, people.
right. And
Yeah.
how, like, if he lived for 500 years, maybe he could see himself being Gollum, too.
You feel like those themes of the ring being allegorical to addiction are present in the books, or is that just in the movies?
I think it plays in the books as well as, like, a really almost, like, drug addiction.
It's just more subtle in the books. Like,
Pretty cool. So these are supposed to be like a race of eagles that Sauron corrupted, and like I think they say like he fed them fell meats from his own hand.
Yeah, some of the depictions of the fell beasts that I've seen, based more on the books, make them look more like vultures than these sort of dragon-looking things that we have in the movies. That they might look more like corrupted eagles if they looked sort of vulture-like.
I don't know why, but I always like the sound mixing in this part with the wings going down.
yeah.
Oh, I do find this a little bit boring.
Yeah.
All right. Let's think of something to rip on or discuss here. What makes orc blood taste so bad? Thanks, Legolas.
He really is Captain Obvious.
Yes.
I'm so pleased you were here to give us that information, Legolas. Well done. Carry on.
Return of Gandalf.
Yeah.
Maybe now is the time to tell the deep cut listener that if you want to join us on our all new Singing and Dancing Discord server, you should pop a message on our YouTube post and we can send you an invite link.
we have a Discord server we're working on if you want to come chat with us.
Are there any gatekeepers for that?
About squirrel droppings and white wizards?
Yeah, the gatekeepers are the curators, Matt.
Ah, good. So we don't get a troll situation.
Well, that doesn't mean we're not going to get a troll situation.
Or if there is one, we can deal with it.
I do like the Vassals of Kingsgrave
The white
approach to trolls,
wizard
which is just to be
approach.
so nice they get bored. Just to ask if they're okay and if they need to chat. And then they just like go away because we don't take the bait. I do think it's phenomenal we've only ever had one actual troll situation though in our long history.
Have
Yeah,
I
but then they locked the forums down, and then like traffic died. So I don't know.
How does
I think,
Gandalf make the sword hot?
That's what I was just wondering. Is that a normal thing?
Is that like a superpower?
I don't know. Yeah.
Third level spell, heat metal.
He's a firebender.
I like how they kind of make the voice sound like Saruman and kind of make the fuzzy outline look like him until
Having so much fun.
reveals it.
Because I think at first I didn't realize that this was going to be him. Like right here. Oh. What was my name? Look at him.
I love how people are joining the Discord server and no one knows who they are because their names are completely different. Like
I
someone
hate
just
it.
joined and was like, "Who are you?" It's like, "Oh, it's
Have,
Alex Lucky Charms." Hey, like welcome.
have I received an invitation to the Discord server? I don't even know.
Look
I
at
put the
Gandalf's
invitation in the
fingernail.
Skype thread for this, Nadia. So if you scroll,
Okay.
or I can do it again.
Okay.
Gandalf
I'll
the White. Oh
This is
man.
a really good scene where he explains his battle with the Balrog at the highest peak.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
It's really epic.
fighting the
But
battle.
honestly,
mythical.
I preferred Gandalf
Get
the
some
Grey.
lightning on Glamdring. Stab him in the heart.
Baby.
54 minutes in. Yeah, I do think also asking people when they join the Discord server, "Hey, who are you?" is maybe like, "Hey, what was your forum name?" or something. Just like Kevin was, "Who are you?"
Is it weird that they kind of split up this flashback? Like, why do we need? I think it would have been more powerful to have this bit and then the Balrog scene we get at the start of him going down and down and down. Like keep the surprise for halfway through. I would have edited
Like I
this a
said,
little bit differently.
I like
think
how he
they
goes
wanted
through
this to be a surprise,
2001:
but
Space Odyssey kind of thing.
he's got the galaxy brain.
Yeah, totally.
But again, it wasn't a surprise at all because like Gandalf the White, there was like merchandise and posters, and so I don't know.
That's a line I sometimes use. I felt life in me again. Like after a hangover or
I was
something
hoping
like that.
it was I smote my enemy on the mountainside or something.
Smote is rude upon the mountainside. Haven't had a chance to use that one yet.
Fingers crossed one day.
Oh, I've had one occasion.
Oh, Legolas trying to emote again.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that real life Legolas had split up from Katy Perry even while she was pregnant with his child.
Wait, what?
I thought
Yeah.
that happened before, and then she married like Russell
Say
Brand.
what?
Like, back together.
So whose child is she about to pop? Legolas's or Russell Brand's?
Yeah,
Legolas's.
Legolas's.
Oh god.
Yeah, so wait, yes, someone told me they were together. I didn't realize that. Are you telling me she's back with Russell Brand?
No, she's back with Legolas.
Okay, I'm so confused.
I neither know nor care. I don't know why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Content, Bina. We got to keep on talking about something.
Gandalf the White has much shorter hair. Let's focus on what's important here.
Well, he got all done up in Lothlorien.
Well, during his quarantine, he was able to get a haircut.
With little exchange between
I like the way
Aragorn and
Gandalf the White laughs. It's like, is it dementia or does he know what's going on?
Why can't it be both?
It could be.
Oh, I like Dr. Pepper. I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, which is hard to get here. So it feels like an achievement.
Why?
Oh, really? Is it not popular in the UK?
I mean, is it truly
Well, it's
popular
easy to
anywhere?
get here.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people drink Dr. Pepper here. I'm not a big soda person, but I used to love Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I never cared for it. I never liked anything with that like kind of cherry flavor.
Oh, Shadowfax.
Cherry?
So,
What is it? It's like a
so
vanilla.
with that,
I think Dr. Pepper tastes a lot like a cherry Coke.
Thank you, Bina.
Now this is a pretty awesome
Like
shot.
the-
Come on, this
they
is
have
fantasy
cherry
literature at
Yeah,
its finest.
Shadowfax.
Yeah.
So noble, so beautiful, so shiny.
And him and Shadowfax ride off, never to be seen again. It's a beautiful horse, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think a few of the horses of the cast ended up being adopted by like members of the cast.
Aww.
Nice.
I
And
love
they
how
actually
he
wrote
almost like
them.
nods to Shadowfax, like he kind of acknowledges
Yeah.
her nobility, which I think is really beautiful. Like
I
humble.
remember watching this and I was very confused, though, because he's saying, like, oh, yeah, he's been my friend through many dangers. And I'm like, Was that his horse in the first movie? Like, what's happening?
It wasn't. No.
It was.
Yeah,
We
I
do,
was-
do we get any background for the Miaras in the movie? I don't think we do, right?
I don't
No,
think so.
Legolas
That's
just
basically
says,
the only thing we have.
yeah, Legolas basically throws out Miras and never explains it.
But yeah, I think Viggo bought the horse that played Shadowfax for the lady who took care of the horses because she grew really attached
Aw.
to it.
That sounds something like Viggo would do.
I didn't know that.
Vigo's
Sweet.
so cool.
That's
He's so
so
lovely.
It's one of the things that I like about The Lord of the Rings and not so much The Hobbit. It's like the horses are real and they are actually riding them and they train to do that. And really, like, for someone like me who actually rides and can see it's like a real thing. It's
Yeah.
very
Mary, need to try and speak up
It-
again,
it-
please.
Are you
Yeah,
are you
ma-
saying you're talking about the production?
yeah.
It did feel like, I think, like Lord of the Rings, like the production felt like the crew and the actors and everybody, they were like a family, you know.
I think
And then
they
if
were,
you
because they were
watch,
together for so long, weren't they? And just
Yeah.
bonded in the middle of
I-
nowhere.
They all
I don't
got
know
magic
if you
tattoos.
watched that the video that like Lindsay Ellis did on The Hobbit, where she went to New Zealand and she talked to several of the actors, and there was a guy who played one of the dwarfs, and he was saying the same thing. Like when they got cast, and they were like, it's going to be this band of brothers thing. It's going to be great. Like they were kind of wanting the same experience, but because of a lot of the issues with the production, like legal stuff and financial stuff, and then like they got all pushed to the side, and it's like the crew was miserable, and a lot of the cast was miserable, and like it was like a completely different feel just making the two different trilogies.
And I think that comes across in the actual final film. I think a lot of the camaraderie that you see amongst this fellowship, particularly like sort of Gimli, Legolas, Aragorn, it feels really real because I think they were friends or became friends by this point, and I think it comes across.
And I think that
And I mean,
these
even-
three movies
even
were
the-
like a labor of love, and whereas like Peter Jackson was late in the game, thrown into The Hobbit, and you know, it's kind of like a
Yeah, he didn't want to
just
do
getting
it.
out.
But even like the production, like it felt like, you know, people in New Zealand, the crew and whatnot, like Lord of the Rings was like this huge benefit for the economy and everyone involved. And The Hobbit, like it felt like it was more destructive for the industry and for New Zealand as a whole. Like
Ooh.
some laws they passed and stuff, like around the production.
Oh wow.
Seemed like the production of the Hobbit films was kind of a clusterfuck. I've seen that Lindsay Ellis videos as well.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, I don't even blame Peter Jackson for that, because again, like he tried to like not be involved, which, you know, he probably should have just stayed that way. I feel like, but you know, what can you do?
Okay, so for the listener, Gandalf's bringing Aragorn up to speed on what's going on with Theoden and Saruman. So, bit of plot update. In very cool, chill blue light.
I do love that line that we should seek to destroy it is not in his wildest dreams.
Yeah, the acquisitive and the greedy only think people can be acquisitive and greedy. They're totally flummoxed by selflessness and friendship.
Yeah, there's that trope of like evil cannot comprehend good.
And good often can't truly comprehend evil as well. A naivete and sort of,
Yeah.
you know, that belief that everyone can be reformed, that there is some evil that you cannot truly understand because you can't contemplate it. I think a lot of that comes out of like the 1930s politics, where people were so reluctant to go back into war, so weary, and just couldn't really truly grasp how expansionary and evil Hitler was. Like they just always wanted to think the best of him or think better of him.
They wanted to think it would end up okay. Yeah.
I just watched a thing on History Channel about Grant, and Grant actually was kind of like the same way. He like valued loyalty, and people that were loyal to him, like he could see none of their faults. So like they're just
Oh, yeah.
scandal after scandal, like keep on doing scandal. Or whatever.
he had a few blind spots where he definitely let some stuff go that he wouldn't have wanted, but he was like, no, my boy wouldn't do that.
Yeah, believing the best of people. Or just it's human
And which
nature,
is,
right?
it's the default. Like, you're supposed to, you want to try to see the best in your friends, the people that you agree with, that you like, you want them to do better. But it's like, it's always a battle. Life is always like a push and a pull. You have to figure out how to be open to stuff, but not be depressing and, I don't know. You can't be all of one thing or the other. It'd be easier if you could.
Now this is a pretty freaking awesome scene, guys. Come on.
The troll moving the gate. Now, do these trolls ever go anywhere, or is this just like they're permanent? They just hang out.
I mean, they have to be let off that thing to poop, right?
No, you just shovel the poop off the side. You feed them and just shovel the poop off the side.
I mean, who's got the job of shoveling it? I mean, that's going to be unpleasant.
I mean, it's got to be one of the million orcs. Like,
it's also very narrow. If they fall asleep and they just fall off the side, even if they're chained up, they can screw up the whole thing.
I don't think Mordor
right?
has like OSHA laws, so I think
Well, no, I meant more like if they fall off, like they could break the whole mechanism.
Oh, stupid hobbits!
Oh no!
Oh, this is a cool shot.
I loved before then when Goblin was just like holding his head and rocking back and forth. Like, you really see that this is a man who is deeply traumatized.
See, my favorite thing about this shot here is that you can see that, like, because of the elven cloaks, like, from the other perspective, like, they're not seen.
Who are these two, like, just fucking infantry guys? And how did Sam get buried?
Yeah, Sam's like 3 feet deep.
Stupid hobbits.
This is like quicksand of rocks.
I'm amazed this film hasn't been cancelled for the deeply Orientalist view of the Haradrim.
They are a fictional race.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in the books, they're kind of like.
Though, so.
Even in the books, it's like very heavily implied that they're like Middle Eastern, Turkish.
Yeah.
That's what they seem like more as Middle Eastern.
I don't know if somebody pointed it out, but the borders on their cloaks look like Arabic writing, calligraphy.
Yeah, look at that. The cloak just turned into a rock.
Those helmets sort of reminded me of like samurai helmets, but I don't know what the actual inspiration for the Easterlings is, but the Haradrim definitely look kind of Middle Eastern.
Yeah, it's like an amalgamation of Oriental otherness.
Yeah, sort of the idea of barbarian hordes at the outskirts of civilization, I suppose, that medieval Europe was used to.
I'm not sure Tolkien ever went further east than France.
The Easterlings were probably more based on Mongolians or the Mongol horde.
Which is why he was probably even more susceptible to believe in stereotypes.
Well, also, he lived in a time where those stereotypes were okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, the Russians made great movie villains in the 80s, And then we're friends with them, although I think it's coming back. Seems like it's coming back.
But to be fair, the Dunlendings are kind of like
to be
European
perfectly fair,
wild men
the British
are
evil. To be perfectly fair, the British are still the villains in all our stories, so that's okay.
See? You know how many foreign films have, like, as soon as an American shows up, you're like, oh, that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, so many.
I do love the design of those gates, though. Poor
yeah,
Gollum.
they look like they could keep some stuff out.
Gollum sort of gropes at Frodo's like sleeve is kind of, I don't know, pitiable.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I feel so bad for him.
Do you think Gollum was hoping they get captured here, or? I mean, Gollum's ready to betray them at a moment. But...
I think in that moment he's on their side and he wants them to succeed, and he realizes that they had a chance to get through the open door and now they don't. So now he knows probably they have to go through Shedub's lair.
Well,
I think the gate will open again at some point, right?
It's also some self-preservation because he knows, like, the worst thing that could happen is if Sauron actually gets his ring back, because that way Gollum will never be able to get it back.
Yeah, that's what I was
So-
wondering, because if he takes them too close and then like they get captured without Gollum being able to get the ring at the same moment, Gollum would be screwed.
Do they even go into the end traps and what those do?
They do a little bit in the extended. There's an extended scene where he's like, "I think you're taller," and they're like measuring each other and stuff.
Do believe this is the scene.
I thought it was later when they were at Isengard, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's mentioned again. I don't know. Murky forest water.
Yeah. They're about to have a sudden growth spurt, viewers.
You said something tree-ish.
Oh, he's burping or farting.
What do you reckon that water tastes like?
Yeah, there we go.
Water?
Maybe like coconut water? Like sort of weird.
Like Treebeard sweat.
Strangely enough, like Dr. Pepper.
Wow. What's your drink of choice, Matt?
Bourbon.
Well, I'm talking about like a soda, but
I do regular just seltzer. Every now and then I really want like a fountain Coke, but otherwise I don't drink soda.
I don't really like dark sodas much. Like I'm not like a Coke or Pepsi guy. Like root beer sometimes. But I like a Sprite or a Mountain Dew or something maybe, but Dr. Pepper's like the only dark one that really I'd actually drink.
I like a good ginger beer with like a Moscow Mule situation, dark and stormy.
Yeah, that's not bad. Moscow Mules. Those are fun.
Yeah, I do believe the end water probably would have sort of an herbal taste to it, maybe.
So this
Like
scene takes
green
the
tea
place
or
of
something.
the Old Man Willow scene in the books, right?
True, yeah. I think they even give Treebeard some dialogue from Tom Bombadil. You should not be waking, eat earth, drink deep, stuff.
I do love. I imagine like the leaves are covering his face. Someone was just like tossing leaves over his head. They're like barely covering him, but it's supposed to seem threatening. He's like, naughty tree, and they're like, we almost died.
The tree almost ate us.
Yeah, don't go near the trees, kids.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Just
tough.
stay
in
away from the
forest.
trees in this forest.
Just right on one.
How do you rate these Treebeard scenes in relation to the other ones?
How do you mean?
Like below Aragorn scenes, but above Frodo scenes, or
Oh, way above Frodo scenes. They're some of my favorite scenes. To me, it's
Find them
basically
a little
anything
slow.
Rohan, then it would probably be this stuff, then it would be just Legolas, Aragorn, Gimli stuff, then Frodo, Sam stuff.
But what about the Faramir stuff? That's in the Frodo scenes.
I mean, like,
Ooh.
anything Faramir's top, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. This is like the honorary Faramir list, so he's not even in the list.
Frodo's an extra in those scenes.
Yeah, Frodo's merely a Faramir delivery device.
Just a set device, yeah. Ooh, Metaseld.
Beautiful mountains.
This is just stunning.
Look at that.
Even the music, those beautiful noble horns. Oh, stunning.
Does anyone remember the Chronicles of Narnia BBC series?
Yep.
That came out, I don't know,
Yes.
back in the 80s or
Grew up on that
I
shit.
don't even know. Yeah, anyway,
We
this
did
music
those
reminds
VHS
me of
from
the
the
music
library.
from that show.
Ooh, look at those fingernails.
Ew.
Oh my goodness. So was Edoras one of the scenes that they tore down when they were done, or because they built that main hall, like a lot of the rest that was like digitally inputted, but I don't know if they left it up or.
It was kind of a protected site or something like that, so they had to dismantle.
Because that's one of those I feel like if they put a little work into it, and just left it up, man, people come stay there. You can make it like a retreat or something. But.
This scene here between Irwin and Grima is great as well, because I sort of feel like there's a slight implication that Grima is using the same sort of speechcraft magic that Saruman uses.
Yeah, I always thought he was. Is he not?
Yeah. I think he's gifted with a little bit of a serpent's tongue kind of thing.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, it could be magic or it could be mundane, but I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, this is some of the dialogue lifted from the Houses of Healing too.
That's such a great line. Who knows what you've spoken to the darkness and the bitter watches of the night? The walls of your bower closing about you. It's scary because he knows her in some way. It's such a violation.
The way she looks at him, it's like somebody understands me, but he's trying to manipulate me, and like that.
Right. Why does it have to be him that understands me?
Yeah.
And it's like, is he caressing me, or is he going to strangle my throat? I mean, it's so well done.
It is great too.
You're right, woman. His words are poison. Well done.
And the music comes in. Oh, it's so great.
Oh, I love this with the flag that rips off and kind of flutters down.
The wind, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, as much wind as you see in these scenes, it was even worse to film. The wind was so crazy.
Well, yeah, it must come down the mountains right across that plain.
It looks so evocative. And then she sees hope in the distance. Her one true love.
The men have found their captain.
He's not her one.
No, Faramir is clearly everybody's one true love, but
can't the king just have more than one queen? I mean, right? I'm just saying.
I think they show him later.
That's a beautiful flag.
I thought the entrance to Edoras was surrounded by the mounds of the old dead kings.
It is. We get to see them at Theodred's funeral, I think.
Yeah, but why didn't we just see them when they're riding in?
Multiple gates.
You're nitpicking.
I am.
I love the beautiful, the ornate carvings on the doors.
Look at the carvings. Exactly. Look at the carvings on the doors.
Oh.
Amazing.
Yeah. I could live in a place like that.
I mean, I could.
And the horses' heads on top of the... I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The rafters? Not the rafters.
I think these helmets on the Royal Guard, they look more Saxon than Viking.
This is probably one of my top 10 sequences here where they disarm them and then, everything that comes in the hall here.
Oh yeah, this is iconic.
All that.
Would you take the staff from an old man?
We're at about an hour and 17 minutes right now.
Yeah.
In the book, there's this whole thing about Aragorn leaving Anduril outside.
Yeah.
And then Legolas and Gimli are like, well, if Anduril can be outside, then my axe and bow are okay. I like that little wink. Look at those columns.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is my walking stick.
Cure of Theoden is one of my favorite scenes as well. This one's great.
And I guess all those columns, or a lot of them, are actually styrofoam.
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't ruin it, please.
Pretty much everything on screen, I assume, is styrofoam. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that.
This is so cool.
He's not welcome.
I also love the way
Yeah,
Brad Dourif or
storm.
Wormtongue is seated himself at the same elevation as Theoden. Like, not as an advisor, he is at throne height, which I think is quite significant.
Oh, right.
I like how they're sizing up the room.
Like if a fight goes down. He's like, oh shit.
They're like, oh, damn, they got the staff, and they got their hands, their fists.
I like the guards as well.
Leg
Yeah,
and
I
throwing
love
a
this like hard
punch.
brawling, man.
So unconvincing.
I like
You-
it when
Like, what are
Hammer
these,
just
weapons?
stops. I like it when Hammer just stops them from doing anything. Like, maybe Gandalf can help us. Just stop.
Yeah, I love that as well. He's like, oh, this might be a good thing.
This is a little thing. You only see it for a second, but it's very, very well done and important.
It's very meaningful. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is like an exorcism. It's so cool. The acting is absolutely phenomenal.
You kind of feel the sense of power, even though it's just like whooshing sounds and hand gestures and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, the white cloak.
And the music.
That was one of the only times I liked Legolas emoting through his eyes, because kind of like Gandalf revealing his true self as a Utari or whatever.
I always found that this line, I don't really understand the logic. Like, you didn't kill me, so you won't kill him. Why?
And I love the choral music. Oh, there we go. Saruman has been cast out.
So well
I don't know.
done.
Could that line be sort of that
My-
Gandalf still believes that there's some good in Saruman,
in the
but he
face. Dang, my copy lagged for a second there.
Do you think Saruman could have been redeemed?
I bet. I think that's a kind of.
At this point, no.
I mean, if he wasn't so arrogant, he could have become like a confidential informant, but I don't think he could have become like an authority figure anymore.
Be a snitch. Saruman the snitch.
Oh, that transition is so good.
Yeah, the
I know your
transformation, the
face.
color coming back to his face. Oh. I mean, especially because what was
Joy.
this done? This was done in like 2000 when they did these effects. And I mean, and we were still, compared to a lot of the other kind of digital effects we had going on at the time, this was definitely up there.
I mean, you guys were saying that in the first rewatch, that these movies are holding up very well 20 years after they were made, and I completely agree. They are just, and I think they will stay great.
They hold up like
Yeah,
crazy.
I think everything other than Army of the Dead holds up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think the Army of the Dead is that bad. I think there are some Legolas scenes where like he kind of like his body like extends in weird ways that doesn't look natural.
Oh, the music, the way he
other
draws
than
the
that-
sword, it's... Sorry to interrupt, I was just gushing over
Yeah.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah, like I said,
Look
I used to
look
have
at
a
the
replica
hilt
of this
the
sword. It's
Look
so
at the
heavy.
horse heads.
This is why we watch this movie, because of this high
Yeah.
romantic moment. It's like,
This
oh,
music, just the string.
this scene is everything. He looks upon the sword with clear eyes as King of Rohan.
regains his strength.
It was like I got chills.
And the next cut is so fucking brilliant as well.
Yeah. Fuck off, Wormtongue. You little shit. So good. Shout out for the actor.
Let's see, where are we at now? Did Wormtongue just run off?
Aragorn's telling Theoden to have mercy and let him go, which is a big theme of these books, right? These books that are basically about mercy. These deeply Catholic books with no religion in them. Off he goes.
The scene was kind of very theatrical, almost like Shakespearean, like the way they sort of the gestures and stances they take.
And then the
Exaggerated
heartbreaking
stances.
scene. And now he'll ask about his son.
Where is my son? Look at that armor.
Yeah.
I mean, Riders of Rohan are dripping, y'all.
Except we are going to have to hear Eowyn sing.
Don't like it?
I don't remember if I like that.
I really don't like it, and I could really do without it.
I
Yes,
like it. It's kind
very.
of, I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's
Is it,
raw.
what's wrong with it?
But
I
her
don't remember.
hair
I
is
agree.
awesome.
I
I
agree
love
that
his
it's
hairstyle.
yeah. Her hair is awesome, and I agree that it's strong and emotional, but it just takes me out of the movie somehow. It just doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't really work completely for me.
I guess it's part of their like funeral tradition, I assume, right?
Yeah, but I mean, she's not a professional singer or like a bard or a minstrel. She's just a family member.
It's very well
Yeah, and
acted
she's
because
like
you
on
see
the
the emotion.
yeah, she's like on the border of breaking down. So, I don't know.
And I love when they show the overhead shot of him going into the tomb and there's flowers on the hay. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the flower comes up of like this pure white country flower. It's very beautiful.
As that these evil days should be mine.
Yes. Again, the language construction is so beautiful. These are the lines for the pandemic.
Now can you see the mounds? Who wanted to see them?
I think Matt wanted to see the mounts.
Yeah.
I profoundly agree with that. No parent should have to bury their child. Not
Yeah.
the natural order of things.
I think that's always one of the greatest.
Again, Bernard Hill just
Tragedies.
owns this movie. How did he not get nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor or Supporting Actor? It's such a performance.
Oh, wow. Because I mean, just pretty much everything we get out of him, when he's weak, when he's emotional, when he's belligerent, when he's desperate, like it all just feels very natural.
And it's all in the last 15 minutes. Look at the range he's gone through.
What I miss?
Yeah.
Well, there are the graves.
Beautiful.
And I mean, you have to make him a sympathetic character that we feel sorry for what's happened to him, what's happened to his son. You also have to make him someone that we view as a leader of men, who's empowering. Like, there's just a lot that role had to do, and you had to have the right person to pull it off.
He's a very human character, like Boromir, like Theoden is, like the way that he struggles and fails. It's very powerful. Like Aragorn is a little too perfect to really be relatable, I think.
Her hair is really beautiful.
Look at that meal. Did you see all that blue cheese that Gimli's eating? I want that.
Sitting where Grima sat here, and they sort of play that here. Play off it.
And you can see it in Theoden's eyes. You can see now he's trying to influence me.
I love when people talk about my people. I want to one day have a people that are my people that I can speak about in such terms.
Yeah. My people have lived here for generations.
Exactly. Oh, it's a bit of an ego standoff here. Gimli's beard. Dear God, that must be rancid with all the stain of beer in it. Ugh. Just look at their gorgeous green cloaks, the guards. Really beautiful.
And yourself with treasures.
I want to flee to Helm's Deep. And look how flipping pretty the stables are.
Probably are the royal stables.
Yeah, when you have your people to muck them, they're clean.
True dat. Okay, listener, so Rohan is now evacuating to Helm's Deep. Gandalf is skeptical that it's the correct choice. So he's about to get on Shadowfax and go do his ting. Look for me on the third day.
Fifth day, I think.
The
Yeah,
fifth day.
whatever.
First light on the fifth day. Yeah. I would say third day too, actually. But
I think there's something
I'm
biblical
sleeping.
about 3 days, isn't there? Easter
Yeah.
and all that. And again, there is
precisely what I
something
mean
very, yeah, a lot of
But
self-conscious.
it's the
Christian.
fifth day from now, right? Like it's not like they were at Helm's Deep fighting for 5 days. I think that's people sometimes get confused. They're like, it doesn't seem like they were there that long.
Why are the horses going nuts?
It's just
Theodore's
the one
horse.
horse. Yeah. And this is extra. This
Everyone's like,
wasn't in
I'm
the
about to
Oh
show you my
yeah,
horse
this
master
is how he
skills.
proves he's all kingly, because he can tame the wild horse, because he's a real man, capital R,
Yeah, because
capital
he's
L.
better than the horse lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Better
that's
than the
right.
people who literally their entire culture is about horses and who've worked with
It
horses
has
their
All,
entire
all I
life.
gotta do is look at this horse the right way.
Oh,
Well, to be fair,
Aragorn.
Aragorn has
Yeah.
lived for,
This is a bit
lived in
ridiculous.
Rohan before, and
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
does
for
use
how long.
Elvish to kind of influence the horse, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, like, for production purposes, how do you make a horse like do that? Where they like quote unquote go wild, but they have to not actually be going wild.
Probably, they probably like maybe a little fire. Horses don't really like fire.
No.
No, they probably trained for it.
Yeah. I think they are. You can make a horse do a lot of things, like just it's just it looks like he's going wild, but he's basically just going on
Right.
his feet, and you can teach
Yeah.
him to do
If you
that.
can make them dance sideways and spin around, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and believe me, you can. So
Work with horses, Mary.
yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, why should we believe you?
yeah. I love horses. I ride horses since I've been 4, and yeah.
Well, that's
I
a very
cannot
cool hobby.
teach one to actually dance, but I know some people can.
Mostly people in Vienna. Ah, Saruman is realizing his plans are being foiled.
How far away is Isengard? Like how quickly could Wormtongue have gotten there?
It's not that far actually from
It's right on the border, I think, right?
Yeah. So maybe a couple of days, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think this is an unrealistically fast journey.
Yeah, it's not like Game of Thrones teleporting.
No. I'm just trying. I don't think that. I was just sort of trying to judge like about how much time we're looking at here.
Yeah, and the funeral might have taken a few days or something like that, and they might have rested a bit as well before they evacuated.
It's basically as quick as how often you can change your horses, isn't it? That's the limiting factor.
So why did
Yeah.
Saruman find horse smell offensive when he's surrounded by orcs that are just like pumping out machines and exhaust and
They just wanted to neg Grima a little bit. Put
And
him in his
also
place.
organic versus industrial. I mean, I don't think Saruman minds the industrial sound of fire bellows and, you know.
Yeah, and you know what they say, like, you know, a bum can't smell his own stink. So, you know, like your olfactory
That's a
sense.
saying.
You've never heard that? A bum doesn't smell his own stink? I don't know.
No, maybe I just never had cause to hear it.
But like your olfactory senses get overwhelmed, you know, very quickly. So that, like, you know, if you smell like crap, you're not gonna notice it. You know, so if he's around that all the time, eventually he'll more or less become numb to it.
oh, when I get musty, I can smell it, friend.
Yeah, but then can you smell it again an hour later? I mean,
I love this scene as well between Eowyn and Aragorn, with the kind of sword practice.
Yeah.
And it's really important because at some point you've got to find it credible that she would ride to war. So you've got to know that she's a shield maiden. I do have some fucking skill with a blade, dude. Back off. Love it. Peter, is it true that there's a saying in Finland that there's always an army in our country, either ours or the Russians, so it better be ours?
That is entirely possible, but I can't really recall it right now.
I just thought that was an analogy for
That was
Eowyn. No, but like the idea that, you know, we've long learned that we, you know, the women of this country have to be good with a sword. And yeah.
right. Yeah.
I think there's a line in Song of Ice and Fire with the Mormons of Bear Island that the women of Bear Island quickly learn to fear krakens rising out of the sea. Kind of similar to that.
Yeah. More months are great. What house was Jorah's wife from?
Hightower.
Hightower.
Hightower, that's right. Freaking Hightower.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite lines in this movie, that when all chance of valor has gone beyond recall or desire. It's such great melancholy and like, oh, so great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful pull-out scene. Oh, Matt.
Varley.
I'm talking about
That's
something
what she
romantic and
said.
beautiful and noble, and oh, you bring it back to dick pics.
Some people think there are no dwarf women.
I could have done
Yes.
without the Eowyn giving the guy the bowl of soup, which is shit scene. I thought that was tonally too
The
light.
bowl of soup.
Yeah.
Of all
Well,
the
we have
extended
to
edition scenes, that's the one I didn't really like.
We have to
Yeah, I
show
could
her
do with
being
cutting that out.
maternal as well, as she can be a warrior and maternal.
She has it all.
Yeah, I feel like we get enough of Eowyn and Aragorn interaction without that scene.
Yeah, I think they want you to feel later on, like, you know, they want you to feel like, well, why doesn't Aragorn choose her? So they give you a little bit of everything.
Play up the love triangle because they also played up as that Arwen is leaving that like Aragorn is technically single since they kind of broke up at Rivendell. But nah.
Look, they've had an on-again, off-again relationship for 100 years. So. Not sure if they want to commit yet.
Oh, Sam and Frodo
Not
scene.
to rush into anything.
Angry Frodo.
The ring is starting to take its effect.
I think I might be a few seconds ahead of you guys. Mine lagged out earlier, and then I had to jump ahead a little bit. What time are you on right now?
1:38:15.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like 10 seconds ahead.
This is why I think it's so important Sam goes with him, because he has to keep him grounded.
Don't you know who you sound like?
It's my heart breaks for Sam. You know, you're watching your best friend get corrupted.
Sleeping with the ring.
There's nothing you can do.
Oh, these are the good good Gollum, bad Gollum scenes. Would Gollum look better if he just shaved his head?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I keep my hair short.
Not that not that he would look good,
Artificial
but I mean, I've recently been shaving my head, and it's a lot of work.
It is, but growing out thin hair, you look like Gollum.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have like, if you have like a pattern or something that's like halfway up your head, I would just be like, I'm just bald forever, but.
I mean, I love this. The sheer talent to play this split personality.
Yeah.
And you just really feel that poor Smeagol is just this like bullied victim. He reminds me a bit of Dobby the house elf in these bits. He's just so pathetic.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's so well done that
Right.
you don't really
And I
actually
do
see them
like
as
the
two
way
separate
like
characters.
I do like the way the pupils are like a different size for each of them in most of the scenes. Like Gollum seems to have kind of like this smaller pupils. We get happy, helpful Smeagol for a little bit.
Yeah, he's very childlike.
Yeah. It's kind of carefree and gorgeous. Oh, rabbits.
It's like when your cat brings you
Yeah,
a dead rat or something,
He
and
says,
he's like,
"Look, I can be
"Hey,
helpful."
here's my gift."
He's so proud of himself.
And then I did the best part is where Sam's like, "You gotta cook him, man." He's like, "You're ruining it."
Ew.
Oh.
What's taters, precious?
Brace of conies. My grandpa used to tell me they used to make rabbit stew all the time when he was growing up.
Stupid
They'd go out
fat
and catch
hobbit.
him.
I love how Smeagol fat shames Sam.
I know. It's a fat one.
Yeah, you couldn't have left like a little bit more raw meat for Smeagol. Come on, Sam.
And it's completely unrealistic. Like at this point, Sam's been walking for months. He would have lost so much weight. He'd be in the best shape of his life.
They're eating way too much lemnis bread. I think that's the issue.
What is the calorie count of lembas
Those
bread?
One bite is supposed to like sustain you for like a long time, and they're just like gnawing down a whole big piece of it.
Yeah, lembas is good comfort food.
So it's got to be like made out of like just a pound of butter.
Give it to a swirl and wiggle in the chips. I don't usually skip through these scenes here. These are fun.
Again, it's a good bit. I do like it.
I also need to see his like branch that he has his pot hanging on, which he's been carrying that pot around forever. Like, how does he have that? It looks like the branch is just sticking up by itself and holding that pot up somehow.
You never campfired cooked? You make a little teepee?
This is a pretty cool
Well, no,
scene.
there's just one branch.
This
Oh,
is
they
like
tried-
the sort of like the evil version of the elves scene in Fellowship when they see the elves walking past, and it's this
Right.
moment of wonder and exoticism for Sam. And this is kind of like the evil version of it. Again, exotic and wondrous, but this means no
And then you
good.
see the Olafons.
Yeah, that's good connection.
And yeah, again, obviously the villains look very Middle Eastern / South Asian. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know we have criticisms of that are valid, but I also think, especially for, movies based on, kind of like a Western or European look, like, you have to differentiate, and maybe people aren't just great at coming up with something
Oh yeah, I
different
mean, I
without
don't mind it.
kind of borrowing.
Believe you me,
Yeah,
I'm the
the
last
evil
person
men,
who's
they
into
aren't
that.
evil at heart. They're just sort of misled and kind of corrupted, and they do get redeemed in the appendices. So
Yeah, exactly.
They
read
get
the
better.
book, people. Stop criticizing. But it's just
Look
cool
at those
to see the
Olafons, though.
elephants. I mean, come on. That's pretty cool.
And then,
But seriously, if they were borrowing so much from, like Indian, Middle Eastern culture, like they could have also borrowed like the amazing elephant armor for the Moma kills.
Exactly. Cataphract elephants.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. All of you guys who played medieval Total War or Rome Total War with assassins.
they've got houses built on top of these things. Look at, I mean,
Yeah, exactly. We have those for camels and elephants.
that's what I'm saying. Like, they could have put like some face armor or something.
No, elephants have like this really cool total body armor. That looks amazing.
No, but I mean, in the
they've been
movie
used
here, they did
historically,
like
and
the tree house on top of the elephant, but like nothing else.
yeah, they
There's your
look
boy.
quite primitive, not like the depictions I've seen of Indian
Time
and
for Faramir to show his quality.
I like how Frodo goes into sort of lawyer mode here.
I like the white tree there on his doublet or his jerkin or whatever you would call that. His shirt.
I think it's a sort of leather armor, so I guess it would be a jerkin maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I read those, like, I'm reading Ice and Fire, and like I read those terms, and I'm like trying to imagine what people are actually wearing. I don't know.
So I think in the books this is either said by Frodo or Sam when they see the first dead body.
Yeah, it's in the narration in the book. I think it might be Sam's internal monologue.
Those beautiful
Oh
mountains in the
god,
background.
dwarf humor. I don't like this attempt at levity. I'm going to now go and get some ice cream.
Dwarf women have beards. See, this is an extended scene for a reason.
Yeah, this one should have stayed on the cutting room floor.
I mean, I don't mind what Gimli's doing here. I think it's fun, but like the idea that all the dwarf women have beards, you're like, okay.
Well, that's from the appendices too. To
No,
give a little
I know,
culture to the
but
dwarves.
like that, I'm saying that's like that's the thing they decided to call out.
Although this bit's a bit weird and Asian creepy. Like when the dad just congratulates Aragorn on his rishta and was like, I see she's made a good match.
Yeah.
And like Aragorn's like, what? What the fuck happened? I didn't realize I proposed. I think there's been many a conversation like this at an Indian wedding where some auntie leans into a young man and said, I'm so pleased for my niece, she's made such a good match. And the young
You're like,
guy's like, what? What?
Aragorn's riding along and he's like, we'll discuss the dowry later. Wait, huh?
Huh?
Oh, yeah,
Well, I
really
think I've just committed to marriage. I'm not sure.
Last time
This,
I flirt
This
with
Christmas, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that, I had a buddy come to my parents' house to celebrate, and like we had like gone somewhere with my girlfriend, and everyone was like taking a nap or something like that, and so it's just my buddy and my father, and my buddy didn't see the cat come down, and my dad goes to the cat. Why don't you go up and find my sister and sleep with her? And my buddy thought my dad was talking to him. I was like, no, thank you. I'm okay reading this book right down here.
Great hospitality.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this scene I find really cringy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so condescending, and I love
Yeah.
Eowyn so much. She's such a badass, and she deserved better than this scene.
Exactly. This is the scene that should have stayed out of the movie.
This was an extended scene too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Viggo is 42.
87. There we go.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'm
And
like
did
way
she
younger.
just realize that?
She's
We
like,
needed
it's
this
okay.
exposition.
They have
'Cause
Viagra now.
No one knows who this is, or what these people are, or how long he lives. So we needed this exposition. But is she creeped out because she's like, oh, he's like Wormtongue's grandfather?
He's like, I'm that old, and I've tasted many crappy stews, but none so crappy as this one.
Could use salt.
He was smoking out of a shorter pipe in the hall. Does he have like a traveling pipe? And
But realistically,
that's
she's
what
an
to say, like,
aristocratic woman. Like, why would
pipe
she
is
know
essential.
how to cook? She's never going to have to cook a meal in her life. So,
But didn't we get the impression that they do? They just kind of all do more to survive. Like they have to learn how to hunt and whatnot.
obligatory Liv Tyler scene because they're paying her so much and they need to be able to put her on the poster.
Yeah, even though she's in like one scene in this movie.
Yeah, just like fantasy making out. Oh no, she'll be in the other scene where she brings him up when he goes over the edge.
oh,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah,
It-
yeah.
Is all sex in Rivendell balcony sex?
A lot of transparent
Well,
shit.
yeah, because all rooms are basically balconies, right?
I feel like in Rivendell, when you have sex, leaves just start flowing around wherever you are, so no one can see. And,
Yeah,
that's
but
just
then
how it
everyone's
works.
like, oh, the leaves are over there. They're doing
Oh,
it.
look at the heavy leaf flow over there for like an hour, guys.
For an hour, good for him.
Well, I feel like the elves are, they got that longevity, right?
They have sexual stamina. It comes with the territory of being immortal.
They're thousands of years old, so by Mandalorian logic or whatever, right? Like everything just takes forever to do. So like maybe it's like they have to mate for days on end. I don't know.
And that weird sting tantric shit that takes like 6 hours.
Do you think Arwen ever loses her shit and just shouts? Or does she just permanently whisper?
Oh, I'm sure Aragorn didn't leave the toilet seat up or something at one point, and she just goes ballistic.
She kind of throws a tantrum at Elrond in The Return of the King. When
That's true.
Yeah, if he leaves the toilet up, does she go all Galadriel like you will have a dark queen?
They have a couple kids are running around screaming. She just like loses her shit.
She's the queen. It's not like she's changing diapers.
Maybe for the novelty of it.
Uh-oh. Here's the awkward, I have a girlfriend talk.
He just turns around. I'm 87, but married 6 times. Okay.
This also never happened in the books, right? She was never leaving.
No.
Yeah.
No, this was all to create this subplot tension and
The
maybe he's
tension,
gonna be
yeah.
with Eowyn and yeah.
Yeah, I think in
Elrond
the
isn't so antagonistic in the books. His to Aragorn in the appendices just like, you do this right, and I might let you marry Arwen.
right.
Just
I
become
think
king first.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like she'll be married to no lesser than a king, the king of Gondor, a king of men, or something.
Like the dress.
I feel this is a
Ooh,
conversation
talk
that's happened
talk
between
Elvish to me,
many
baby.
men and women. You thought you were gonna just slip out?
That's like
Shaggingly.
basically every one of my one night stands.
So noble. Her dressing gown is very, very beautiful. That kind of embroidered silk. And she gets even more intensely whispery. Why are you saying this?
You mean I chose a mortal life?
It's like that Seinfeld where the George tries to break up with a girl and she says no. It's like, wait a minute, what?
Okay, good. We need to move off of all this relationship drama.
Yeah, but Eowyn's got to be psyched that, his girlfriend's leaving for the Undying Lands.
Yeah.
Oh look,
She's
Legolas
got
looking
it.
moody.
Oh, this poor guy, I liked him. He was all right.
Is this the paths of the undead?
No, this is the wargs. The warg
No,
attack.
yeah. This
Oh,
is the
yeah. Gotcha. These are cool beasties. I love this.
They're very cool.
CGI does not hold up well here, huh?
That's true though. Sort of hyena-like almost.
A scout. I like the general rabble of the people. All right, Gimli. What was the direction that Orlando Bloom got? Like, stare wider, stare harder.
Squintier and more intense.
Good bit of foreshadowing here. I can fight. Daddy says no, you are but a girl. Only people with penises may fight. Resentment builds. Aragorn is leaving.
No.
Fucking epic music, though.
Yeah, the Isengard theme. It's a good one.
That was a very CGI jump.
Yeah. So here's one of like the real BS Legolas CIG scenes that doesn't really hold up. It's like his arm extends about 6 inches longer than it is.
Yeah.
Man, the CGI really doesn't look good.
But to be fair with like humans, I think around this time it was a little harder to do. Like even like the Spider-Man movies around this time, I think like Daredevil and like some that had a lot of human CG for like acrobatics and stuff had those moments where it just looked like they were stretching out. It was kind of weird.
Oh, I don't think I ever realized Aragorn just like took off a guy's head like that.
Just a casual decapitation. I think this, like, remember.
So he's
watching
holding his
TV
bow
like-
kind of like crossways flat and shooting upward. Does that seem to kind of be the style? Because I've seen several of them do that now.
I don't think that's accurate or a good way to shoot a bow, but maybe it looks a little more interesting, so they sometimes do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but maybe it's better for the shot. Like it makes it easier to film. Oh, and Gimli gets it in the boys.
I remember watching the DVD extras at some point, and they sort of discussed that they needed to add an action scene like in between here because it had been so long without one, so that this is kind of a tacked on scene that isn't in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does feel like a, for the movie audience popcorn type film thing.
Victory.
Yeah, because Aragorn doesn't like disappear in the books, right?
No.
This is all fucking
This does
made up.
not happen in the books.
It's made up, but the book is not made up at all.
It's the historical document.
Sacred texts.
Look at this guy.
I
He
do
has
like
his
the kind of
head
like
well done.
yeah, I like that some of them have like these like bolts on their head for like a kind of like suture line. Like,
No.
Yeah, there's a line in The Hobbit about goblins that they make many useful things, but they make no beautiful things, and that's sort of like I suppose like they don't care about the aesthetics at all, so their medical and plastic surgery would look like that as well, I suppose.
The wolves of Isengard
Squinty,
will
height,
return. Legolas
hard
squints.
stare. Yeah.
Does Legolas? I mean, like as an actor, he must have been paid the most per word, or maybe it was Liv Tyler.
Maybe.
No, I think Liv Tyler probably had more dialogue than he did.
Which kind of
If
does
anyone's done a
Legolas
super
dirty.
cut of Legolas lines, like would it
I
be
mean-
like a minute long or something like that?
Yeah, to be fair, it's not like he's very developed in the book either. So
Yeah, but he's still a dick in the books, but like, I don't know. You get more of his character.
I mean, I don't know. I found when I read the book, which happened the movies, that I gave a lot of what I got from the movie. The boys, they're pretty like two-dimensional and just names on a page. It's not really that Tolkien focuses about, for me at least.
Yeah, I do feel like they've done a good job of sort of expanding the characters a little bit and breathing life into them in that way that it can seem a bit stilted in the books, I suppose.
Okay, so
Potatoes.
the listener at home, they've all arrived at Helm's Deep now and are realizing that they don't really have the provisions for the entire people of Rohan to ship up and to be supported.
Not enough potatoes.
Never enough potatoes.
Yeah. It's called Battle Eowyn. Oh, bummer. Does anyone watch the new Sabrina Teenage Witch with Eowyn in it?
Yeah, she's good in that.
Yeah, I like her too.
I guess they're doing one more season and then they've canceled it.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, they announced that a few weeks ago that I guess that they were canceling it, but there's still the next season is gonna, it's 5 or 6 episodes or whatever it is. He's gonna like finish things up. Netflix has canceled a couple things that I thought were really promising. They've been more willing to cancel stuff now than I think they used to be because they have 1,000 shows. So.
I like this where he brings the torch over. And Saruman's like, get that fucking thing away.
Gunpowder.
I love how the army was hidden.
This is my favorite. Yeah, this is my favorite part. He's like, it would take a number beyond thousands. Where could they possibly be? They walk outside, and he's like, what the fuck? They've been gathered for days, Grima. Where have you been?
This is definitely like a shot for the trailers.
I love his Grima is still holding his candle that long sputtered out.
You have to really admire the sound mix here. I watched this in IMAX. They did an all-night, through-the-night extended edition cinema thing that I did well over a decade ago. And the sound system there was so awesome that when you hear this crowd and the drums and the bass, it was the whole cinema like reverberated around you, and it was like exhilarating and petrifying.
I love that one little tear down Grima's face as he realizes that his world of men is going to be destroyed.
Yeah, kind of an oops there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot the Ents existed. It's been like 5 hours.
Been a while.
Oop, need to plug in the MacBook.
Do it. So there's like baby swim classes that teaches the baby if like they fall in a pool to immediately go on their back and float like that. So what I'm saying is that Aragorn attended those classes.
Yeah, we thought about doing that. We did swim classes when he was really young. He loved it. But we never did like the super baby one where they just like automatically float because I'm like, I'm not letting this kid near water.
So that like reflex for closing the airways that you can only get when you're a baby. That helps with diving.
We did the thing like where we dunked him and stuff. But they didn't do like a float thing.
My mum used to take me swimming as an absolute infant, and then again, she is a qualified lifesaver.
Yeah, there's something called.
This is the payoff.
Horsies are heroes.
Yeah.
It was so weird because he was like less than a year old when we'd go to these swim classes, and you'd have to get like swim diapers and stuff, and half the time there was like a turd in the pool, and we'd have to wait half an hour until they cleaned it. Because it's like all these babies poop in the pool, you know? You can't control that because they had like a separate, smaller pool for the littler kids to do their training at.
How
That's
did the
that's why I
horse get
don't.
Aragorn on its back?
Because they
Horses are
bonded in
baller.
the stable, Bina. Don't you
No,
remember?
physically. I mean, he
We
can't
had that
nudge him
stupid
with
scene.
his nose on his back. I mean,
We set out that he
This is where she tells him off.
down. Pardon.
Mary, speak up, please.
Sorry. The horse crouched down so that Aragon could climb.
in real life, Mary, would horses have such a bond with if they had like one owner, that if the owner was wounded on the floor, they would be nudging it and like being aware of it, of the owner being ill?
Like horses are a bit weird because they're not very emotional creatures. I mean, they are emotional, but they are not really obviously attached to you. It's not like a pet. It's a bit different. But yes, I think you could have such a bond developing with your trainer. To this extent, I don't know really. It really depends on the horse. They have different personalities actually, so they're not all the same.
Interesting. Oh, this is a cool scene. Older, noble King Aragorn on his...
It's super sad scene.
It is really short-sighted of Elrond, right? It's like all he's thinking about is the relationship between Arwen and Aragorn, and not like what comes, like what was produced
And
by
this
it.
is basically what happens, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, this is what happens.
she got the children
He
and all that,
dies.
but
He dies, and then she just like walks into the forests of Lothlorien and just disappears. I think.
Yeah, she diminishes with the forest or something like that.
Yeah.
but isn't it weird?
But
She
what
wouldn't
does
stick
that
around for like her
mean?
descendants.
What does diminishing with a forest mean? What does going into the west mean? It's also ambiguous.
Well,
So,
when you're going to the west, you're actually sailing to Valinor. So you're actually going to the land of the Valar. But
So when you diminish, like the elves can die from sadness and grief, or like they can decide when to leave Middle Earth. So that's like how they diminish. I like the tapestries with the two trees of Alnor in them.
Yeah, that one's beautiful.
No, I can't wait to manipulate my daughter.
Damn it, Varley.
Oh, you can't replace that. The father-daughter relationship is so sacred. I love my daddy. Here we go. It must be heartbreaking for the dad, though.
Yeah. So I bought like a solar lantern that kind of looks like these Elvis lanterns for my front garden.
Love it. I've no doubt said this many times before, but we have a house 3 doors down that's named Rivendell.
Really?
It doesn't really look like Rivendell, though.
But how dare they?
It is a cottage. Ooh, Kate Blanchett.
I know, she's lovely.
Varley just has a moment.
Yeah, my underwear just got
Elrond's
tighter.
head is framed by the window there. It's really sort of like accentuates his forehead and kind of plays into the telepathy sort of thing going on.
Definitely. Oh, this is all very cool. Is that the first overhead shot of Gondor? Ithilien.
Of Osgiliath.
Osgiliath. Brilliant. This is extended, right? Because you don't get as much Osgiliath in the original?
No, I think this is original because this spurs the Elvish archers to go to Helm's Deep.
Yeah, I think this is in the theatrical as well. It's sort of like exposition as well and kind of catching the viewer up, I suppose.
Oh, okay, yeah. Makes sense, because why do the elves show up? Well, I guess Gandalf goes and gets them, but still.
No,
No,
Gandalf doesn't.
Gandalf goes
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
yeah, that's right. That's what I'm getting confused.
Yeah, in the books he goes to get Erkenbrand, and in the movie he goes to get Eowyn.
Yep,
Right.
yep, gotcha. And I think, like, in the movie, you need to have it explained to the non-book reader that the ring has a will of its own. So this line that she has where the ring is working really hard now, I think that's necessary.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the waterfall. It's so pretty.
Well, even in the opening prologue, they say, like, but the Ring of Power had a mind of its own as it betrayed Isildur.
Well, yeah, but you have to kind of repeat it for the next movie, right?
Right.
A year ago. And 5 hours ago as well.
And this is a weird one, right? Because, oh, here we go. Faramir. A little Basil exposition moment with a map. Helpful. I love how everyone's silent in the face of Faramir.
It's as if the two towers were attacking.
Poor Faramir. The weight of the world on his noble shoulders.
Can't get no respect from his daddy.
Yeah, he's got daddy issues. What must I do to prove myself? This is so pretty too.
I always imagined, like, this cave being super, like, dank and always, like, wet and ugh. But it looks very nice and dry there.
Frodo's like remarkably free with information here. And trusting. His gardener. That's the most iconic line.
Kind of feels like maybe he feels that Faramir is vulnerable even before he like, knows it.
Sam's shifty eyes gives away the lie. It's great.
The phraseology is so important. I was his friend for my part.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of heartbreaking as well, because it's true.
Yeah.
And they also don't know what happened.
Well, they know he attacked them, but yeah.
Right, but they don't realize he died defending Merry and Pippin and everything that happened.
It's pretty good acting here as well. The grief in Faramir's eyes.
He was my brother. I'm so sad.
Oopsie poopsie.
And now Frodo is afraid.
Flash.
Yeah, now he's not. Like, I think he was trying to, like, prove that, like, any enemy of the enemy should be helping us out, but now he's like, oops, maybe I shouldn't have given all that info.
Another one of those ring snatchers.
Well, this is one of my favorite extended scenes. The glory days. The two.
Yeah, here we
Yep.
go with
Yeah, this is so
Osgiliath.
good.
Yeah, it's so stunning.
I feel like this should have been in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Sean
Yeah.
Bean looks really fit in this as well.
Yeah, that armor is great.
And he's on Snowpiercer now.
And he has clean hair. The land of
I
my
love
people.
the tree.
More my
I
people.
love the tree on the armor. It's beautiful.
The Gondor.
Place of light and beauty and music. I'd like to live in a place of light and beauty and music.
You live in Finland, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true though.
Little brother.
Let's get fucked up.
Let's go and wench. Huzzah! Ale, draft ale.
Oh, I love that.
It's just so lovely.
Every now and then you need to, realize that.
Oh dear.
Even though in the middle of everything else, maybe just for a couple hours, life is good.
Here comes the fucking mood hoover of the north. Like Livia Soprano. Manipulative
That's
psychopath.
great. That comparison is great.
Actually, the hair's a bit like Livia Soprano.
Yeah, for a minute, like Denethor did have a bit of that, like kind of like mobster accent. It felt like.
Denethor is like a mobster. Oh, Faramir looks like he could cry.
You a real man, Faramir. You could grow your hair as long as mine.
All he wanted was a hug.
All he wanted was his dad to acknowledge he'd done a good job. Such a dick.
Yeah. And Boromir tries to be a good brother, but he's also very much the like approval-seeking son. Yes, it would be a mighty gift.
There you go.
Yeah, so here he's like being directly sent on like a secret mission to steal the ring.
Yeah, so they know that the ring
But
exists.
it's the lack of self-awareness. Like, Denethor's literally saying, ever will the ring seek to corrupt the hearts of men. Not knowing that what he's saying and asking his son to do is a sign that it's already corrupted his own heart. I mean, it's
Right.
via
It's
the
like
Palantir.
If it's gonna corrupt anyone's heart, it's gonna be mine.
With my people.
Ugh, I hate him so much. Just such a bully.
Here's the moment Faramir's like, well, I could go. Show his quality, bro.
Thing is, if you don't have this scene, it really puts Faramir in a bad position in the theatrical cut. Because when he captures
Yes.
Frodo, you think he's just taking the ring for himself because he's just another greedy
Yeah.
man. Whereas if you
Right.
have this scene, you
Mm.
realize all the psychodrama and that he actually doesn't really want the ring, but he wants to do something to make his father respect him. And you see the stakes. So without
Yeah,
the
that's
scene,
true. Good point.
that's why it does Faramir dirty in the theatrical cut. Like, I don't agree with that decision, but at least if you put in this scene, it kind of justifies it more.
And it even makes it more like when he decides to like let them go, it like adds a little bit of weight to that as well.
But it also fucks with Boromir, because I mean, why wouldn't Boromir have tried immediately to take the ring, like when he was holding it up the pass of Caradhras?
Nah,
I think he was maybe
like,
hoping to
not in a
bring
position
the
for that.
fellowship to Minas Tirith, sort of like peacefully,
Yeah.
to persuade them to go there.
It was like a last option, and also I think that like the longer he was with the Fellowship, like he understands more than when he set out from Gondor. I think he's not necessarily of a mind to just like grab it and run necessarily. I think the ring keeps pulling him towards that, but he also knows that's not a good idea.
Is it cocktail time yet?
So what's the deal with this pool?
Okay. See, what is it? At least put up a.
Why is it forbidden?
Are you going to shoot anyone?
It's forbidden because it's close to their hideout.
Yeah, exactly. It's like right at the entrance to their cave, and that's like a closely guarded secret. So
But I mean,
anyone
he
who
says like to enter the pool, you get but bears the penalty of death, as if it was like a sacred site or something.
Well, yeah, no, it's an arbitrary
I just
law.
think it means that anyone who reaches the pool could also come to the cave, so that is why they get killed. So the position
Yeah,
is not
that would make a lot more sense. Yeah, I was like, this pool doesn't seem like anything special.
I think Faramir might be playing it up to sort of like interrogate Frodo as well.
Do not trust Master.
This is so sad. The betrayal of Smeagol.
Really pulls on your
I mean,
heart.
could he have just said, "Hey, there's danger. I need you to come with me"? Like,
Oh,
yeah, this part right here.
Yeah. Aw.
Oh boy.
I like how one of the rangers was like pointing an arrow, pulling it back at his friend there, like as if he's gonna shoot Gollum when he's captured there. Not proper bow handling.
No.
Hey guys, I will leave you now.
Au revoir, Marie.
Bye, Matt. Bye.
Catch you later.
Enjoy the end of the.
Yeah, goodbye, Millie. I'll probably go as well.
Yep, have a good day.
All of you too. It was really nice speaking to you.
I heard you hear his false. I do love Faramir just like staring at this.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
I am a little surprised he doesn't just like stab him in the back right here.
That was unnecessary.
All right, Faramir, you got your information. Just cut his head off.
This is such a pivotal scene.
It's so heavy.
You know, if the whole of this thread is about whether or not Frodo can resist. So petrifying. Oh, here we go. Faramir realizes he has the ring viewer.
Yeah.
And now Philippa Boyens, Fran Walsh, and Peter Jackson do Faramir dirty.
Yeah. It's not great.
By rights, we shouldn't even be here. None of this should have happened.
To show his quality.
Show your quality, Faramir. You know yourself. Resist, resist.
Remember who you are. I mean, I don't think this is like it's not great, but I don't think this is terribly bad.
Oh no, it's not the worst thing.
For what they
To be
for the movie audience, I sort of get.
Yeah, like eventually he does resist.
as long as you kind of end up in the right place, I think it's fine. What detours you take.
And like I said, showing the pull from the ring and the pull from his family obligations, and then the fact that he even eventually is like, you know what, no, we're gonna help you on your way. Like, I think that makes that even more of a monumental moment for him.
I just feel it. I would have been happier with the scene if he had pulled his hand back instead of Frodo wrenching away.
Yeah.
That would have made more of an effect.
Parallel to Aragorn at Amon Hen as well.
Yeah.
But I kind of do feel like the film's critique of the book is valid in that it does diminish the pull of the ring, that Faramir sort of just ignores the attraction there.
But he's in its presence for so brief a time. And I always thought it was like any addiction. Some people are more susceptible than others. Some people can take a line of cocaine once and they're addicted, and some aren't. And so I never really minded that.
And I think it's said in the books that Faramir is more elvish almost than his brother. Like he's inherited more. He's more.
Gandalf says
almost.
Gandalf says somehow by some mischance the blood of Numenor runs true in him more than his brother.
Exactly, it runs stronger in him, right, than his brother. So I think that's why he's more resistant to the power of the ring.
This is probably Legolas's best line in the book, in the entire movie.
Gimli Sans helmet is strange to me. Is this like an emotional reunion for an elf? I will just gaze to the side once more.
I love that. You look terrible.
Oh, Eowyn, your boo's back.
We call him King Bay.
King Bay's back. But he's already with other Bay. Elf Bay.
She could just bring him more soup, and then if she does the Salt Bay move, maybe it'll work. And be like, it did need salt.
Oh, Eowyn. Oh, this is pretty boss. That's a boss door opening. That's almost memeable.
That is an entrance.
Like, did the Rohirrim not have any scouts of their own? Like, Aragorn was the only one who could have seen the troops moving from Isengard.
No, remember the two scouts that in the entire Rohan got attacked by those wargs scouts?
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is a great scene as well.
Again, I want to walk like a lord through my army, preparing for battle, inspiring confidence in my people. You know, a kind word here, a reassuring pat on the shoulder there, striding forth, showing them that I'm not afraid. I feel this is what I'm qualified for.
One day.
I mean, that is legit the best compliment I've ever gotten from a woman was when we were walking. I was walking with a girl down the street, and she told me that I walk so nobly, and I was like, "Oh fuck, that's going in the bank."
I now feel you need to get someone to take a video of you walking so we can assess indeed the nobility of this walk.
But they got to do it on the sneak because obviously when you know you're being videotaped, you're going to walk differently. So
I'd be the same. But I'll remember that until the day I die.
Aww.
call back to that.
Such great
courage hangs by a thread. Such a great line.
See, that's a good learning moment for Aragorn. It's like, read the situation. He's not fighting. He just can't, let the troops know every specific.
See, in my headcanon, Aragorn remembers that line, their courage hangs by a thread, and this whole conversation, so that when he then goes with his troops to Mordor, and you remember how in the books that takes a while, and he says to his people, if any of you are too scared, you can go back and there's no dishonor. And in my headcanon, it's because he learned from Theoden how to deal with troops and be empathetic to them.
Does this happen in the books, though?
No. So my headcanon is a mashup of all the best things from the film and the book.
That's fair,
and a whole bunch from the sort of the Faramir fanfic that is also in my head. So.
An amalgamation of all the best bits.
Yeah. The bits that should have been and never were.
Ooh. Oh, you guys have no idea how much humor fanfiction I've read. Like, a lot.
Oh. Is Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire fanfic as much of a thing as it used to be, Nadia? Is that as fertile a ground?
I don't know. I don't read that much fanfiction anymore, so I don't know. But I think it probably is. Like,
yeah, where's Imogen when we need him?
I mean, Lord of the Rings fanfiction is still a thing, and the movies came out in the last movie came out in 2003. And to be fair, most Lord of the Rings fanfiction is inspired from the books and not from the movies. So it's still going strong.
Ooh, the Entmoot. This is pretty awesome.
Have you read the Lord of the Rings fanfiction? I think you said you had.
To whom? Me, Nadia?
Nadia.
Me? Like, I've read lots of fanfiction.
Does the style sort of try to emulate Tolkien's literary style, or is it?
Some do. Some are actually very good at it. There are some very famous fanfictions which do a really good job of it. But then others don't really bother.
I wish we could have seen the glittering caves here.
I mean, we do. They show them later on, but it's not very extensive, is it?
Or impressive. Like, Gimli names them like one of the great wonders of the world in like his dwarf eyes. And, that's a great line.
for Valor. That one.
Yeah. Oh.
As well, that they fight beside you because they would not be parted from you because they love you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like, these are the glittering caves? Come on.
There's a little bit of glitter on those stalagmites.
Yeah, time to put the hair up.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the rocks are pretty glittery, like in the background.
Yeah, I guess.
Are they good enough to make Gimli like a drool?
Yeah. Time to conscript some young people.
Fanfic?
I was just about to say I've never read any Gimli fanfic.
I've seen some good fan art of Gimli and Galadriel, like old Gimli arriving in the Undying Lands and meeting Galadriel for the last time.
Aww.
Stuff like that. I'll link it on Discord later.
Oh, my lady. I can't really imagine. That's a very popular one.
Shut up, Legolas.
You're like, you've seen too many few winters, Legolas.
Okay, listeners, so Legolas is, kind of speaking Elvish to tell Aragorn that they're all going to die. Then Aragorn blows it by replying in English that I'll die with him.
Yeah,
which is very much what happens in Asian households. Like when I was growing up, my parents were talking about me in front of me, and they'd go into like a Kenyan language, into Swahili. And then one of them would slip up by replying either in an Indian language or an English language so I could understand. Besides which, I knew they were talking about me anyway because they went into Swahili, which they only did when I asked for something and they hadn't previously been able to come up with a parental stance on whether I was going to get it. So they had to have a conference in front of me I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was not as stealth as they thought.
They're just arguing in incomprehensible language, people staring, and then Aragorn just screams, "I'll die as one of them!" They're like, wait, what the fuck?
It's like, Aragorn, you have no
Yeah,
set.
I remember the time when my kids weren't fluent in English yet, and my husband and I could just talk in English if we didn't want them to understand what we were saying. But now, unfortunately, all of them understand English, so we can't do that anymore.
Those days are long gone.
Like, even with my son, like, when he was younger, we could say certain things that he didn't really get, or we could, or we'd know, like, he wouldn't follow along, or we could spell certain things, and then that's sort of starting to fade away. Doesn't quite work. That axe is way too big for that child.
Yeah, that's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Although I did find,
what kind of weapon would you like to have if you had to fight an army of Uruk-hai?
But this is a beautiful, like,
I think the bow and arrow, right?
Or running away and hiding. I'd want the elvish cloak that allows me to run away and hide under camouflage.
A pair of sneakers.
How did it come?
This is pretty cool.
Well,
Ooh,
have felt like
Entmoot.
rain on the mountainside.
Entmoot alert. The Ents are pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're alright.
They're like swaying back and forth like they're high. Just communing with themselves. I like angry Merry. Merry is quite funny when he's intense and angry.
But it's nighttime.
Just finished saying good morning.
Merry, bless.
And so, like, time. What is time? We've been around forever.
Okay, listener, just checking you're all still with us. It's 2 hours, 44 minutes in. We're on the battlements of Helm's Deep with Aragorn looking a bit nervous and some young kids with swords. And Aragorn's going to try and, make him feel better about themselves because he has learnt from Theoden that you should lie to people.
You have to inspire them.
Exactly.
You can't be like, well, it doesn't look good, guys.
They say that it is hopeless. But I feel that this is really profound. I think there are these big, overarching, quite Catholic themes in this book. One is about mercy and one is about hope. And that the most evil sin you can commit is hopelessness and falling into despair, which is kind of what Denethor does when he looks into the Palantir and see the odds against him. And in a way, Saruman. And this is what this conversation is all about. And it's what Helm's Deep, I feel, is all about. Like, not falling into despair, not being hopeless.
Well, it's a mixture of like hope and faith. Like they run together, right? Like you have to have hope without promise of it getting any better. Just like you have to have faith without actual proof of God. Or
So you've got to like hope that, or have faith that Gandalf will show up on whatever day. But you can't just sit there idly waiting for some external manifestation. You have to strap on the belt and take the sword and go out. I think it's really, really profound, actually, as a kind of a way to live or a way to approach situations like the one we're in,
That you sort of have to do the right thing, even though you might not get rewarded for it. Just sort of like that, because it's the only thing you can do. Just because the alternative is worse, just falling into despair, you'll just suffer even more until you get to the end.
I like the elf music.
So this is the one change from the book that I really love. Yeah, man. Fucking elven archers. And that beautiful music and those beautiful banners. Oh.
You see, but I feel like, that it almost goes against what we were just talking about. Like, all of a sudden, out of the blue, here's your saviors, the immortal elves.
Which is why Tolkien wouldn't have done it, because this really is like Deus Ex Machina, or sort of like Elven's Ex Machina. He wanted men to do it. But at least they're not as pivotal here. Like, I feel they would have won even without the elves. They wouldn't have won without Gandalf.
Would they have, would a person only watching the movie understand that the Rohirrim would have been able to do it on their own without the elves' help?
Dunno.
Right.
I think, to me, the turning point, this is kind of like gives you hope and maybe helps you fight better. To me, the turning point is when Gandalf turns up. That's the kind of the pincer attack.
Yeah, I mean, that's supposed to be the awesome part, like, right? Like when Gandalf shows up, that's supposed to be now we're safe. Even though in the books, even that happens like after they've almost won.
But this is like 100 men, right? This doesn't tip the balance, but I think it does inspire the men. It inspires the men that they're not alone, that they have allies, that people know of their plight. Like, that's more, the psychological boost is more important than the fact that there's 100 archers.
Yeah, I don't mind it as much because all the elves die in the first phase of the battle, so it doesn't ruin the conclusion with Theoden. Well, I mean, because it is supposed to be all about Rohan, and I mean, here you can see it sort of like the elves in their skill and sort of how elegant and good at war they are, but
sort of like the elves are mostly just used up as like a endurance boost or a morale boost.
Helm's Deep isn't as big a deal in the books as it is in the movie, as it's kind of like it is a long protracted battle, but it's not. There's also kind of a big to-do when Theoden goes to meet all the different armies that are out in the field fighting Saruman's armies. It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
but
I mean, for the movie,
sort of dramatically better.
For the movie, they need like the big fight scene, right? The epic fight scene. So
maybe a little bit too drawn out, but I do.
Yeah, I like in the book how I think like Aragorn like 2 or 3 times has to like rally the troops and like looks out on the orcs and is like, oh, don't worry, things change and like they will come again.
A bit more of that sort of psychological warfare there.
Nadia, Aragorn's not wearing a helmet.
Yeah, stupid. Like we've talked about this when we talked about the books. There's this one scene where he just gets up on the wall to talk, like to give a speech or something. I was like, that's so stupid. They can just shoot him down.
They need to be able to see it's him. I mean, come on, you got to see that face.
But does it have to be like?
What are you
going
to do with a sword up there, Aragorn?
Yeah.
He's going to point where people need to fire their arrows.
I feel like there's a good story about the dude missing an eye in this fight sequence. Like they found him in a bar and just like had to convince him to do the movie.
Oh dear God. Alias has made a custom emoji for our Discord, which is a baby Yoda.
Amazing.
And now everyone's just like posting baby Yodas everywhere. It may not stop.
Well, sounds right.
This is the part that I kind of don't like. Like instead of giving the power to the Rohirrim, it's kind of taking it away from them and giving it to Aragorn and the elves. Like they're the front. They're like the first line of defense.
Yeah, it is kind of a problem, yeah.
See, now the Rohirrim come in.
So many of the elves.
I wonder how thick Uruk-hai or Orc-hide is for a conventional arrow to get through it, plus armor.
But then any arrow fired from that high would have like a great amount of momentum, so it would be able to punch through the armor and the skin.
I like these berserker guys, they're real scary looking.
Like, how did that guy get down, able to swing that large thing like 180 degrees in a crowd of people?
Well, all the elves made room for him, politely.
Yeah, they're like, oh, oops. Oh, to the nuts.
I actually think this is pretty good war choreography or battle choreography, because you do get a sense of what's happening where, and this is the first phase, then we fall back. I mean, I think some battles you don't really understand what's going on, but this one I always feel is actually pretty well done.
Yeah, it is good. Exactly the reason you mentioned.
And the gag with like Gimli and Legolas counting their kills is always fun.
Like
Yeah.
I saw some comparisons between this and the Battle of Winterfell in the last season of Game of Thrones, and that was definitely a valid criticism that this
I can see
show
what's
the
going on
progression
here.
of the battle very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could actually see the Battle of Helm's Deep is a cool thing.
Does help.
Or the Ents. Jesus, spit it out, mate. It's like he's falling asleep mid-sentence.
He's old. That's what old people do.
We've just agreed on orcs. Brilliant.
I really like the background ends and not encouraging lit with that.
Mary is about to lose his shit. This is how I feel Winston Churchill must have felt when calling up FDR and asking for more help in 1939 and 1940 and getting fobbed off.
Yeah, but FDR had that quick, like, New York kind of style delivery, not long and drawn out.
Still took you flicking 2 years in an armed attack to join the war, didn't it?
Yeah, well, we are Americans,
Goodness.
and we did not want to get involved in another war.
I mean, no one wanted to get involved in World War II. I mean,
Also, at the same time, we had like Hitler summer camps, and there's like a big Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden. So,
Can we just take a moment in appreciation of this testudo? I appreciate anyone walking in armed formation Roman style with shields up a ramp.
yeah,
That's a cool. Like
that's all they've got.
one of the coolest thing in original Rome Total War was when you could get the your forces to form a testudo. It's like, yes.
oh boy.
So basic but
And
so
now
effective.
Saruman's magic.
It's like the Death
Like, why
Star.
one of the
It has a
guys
fatal
with
flaw.
torches?
It's like, how did I siege before this?
Would help to, not make
This
a...
orc guy is so excited to die.
Yeah, they couldn't use a fuse. They have to have a guy carry the Olympic torch to it.
Use like a flaming arrow or something. Like, why does he have to run in?
Because I think...
Right?
Okay, I'm going to now make an apologia for that ridiculousness, which is it shows that the orcs on the side of evil have no regard for human life, hence suicide bombers, whereas the side of good has regard for human life. So that is pretty...
Yeah, that's
They could have
true.
been more
That's true.
efficient. Yeah.
But
I heard that-
I also see a whole hell of a lot of torches, like all over the place in that orc army.
Right. There are torches lighting the way of the Olympics, dude. So apparently, like,
Look, the third guy walking in has a torch.
Testudo!
Apparently-
Battering ram inside Testudo for the fucking win. I mean, that is just very cool.
I remember the
Those
Two
like
Towers
that.
video
Those
game
on
playing the heck out of
yeah.
the Helm's
Oh,
Deep
yeah.
like level over and over again. I keep being like, I can't stop the guy from blowing up the wall.
yeah.
I thought, like, in the game, maybe I could stop it. Nope.
So they created like some kind of like artificial intelligence gaming thing for like the extra orcs in the background, and apparently like it did a like a war games kind of thing where it realized that there are no winners, so they just like ran away from the fight.
How did Gimli not fall on top of a spear? Like, there were like 100 spears there, and he managed to avoid every one.
Elf charge.
Very cool. Charging
Look at all
downhill,
those elves.
though.
There's so many of them. They'll all survive.
Anyone who knows anything about the history of Alexander the Great, and indeed his father, will know that if you charge downhill onto people with very long spears, you're not going to win.
It's a bad idea.
It's a really freaking bad idea. Like this
You're
is-
doing the work for them.
This has been
Which is-
known to
which is also
humanity
why-
since like 400
why-
BC.
Having the high ground, like you keep it.
Oh god, the Ents. Come on, man.
Yeah, I feel like Obi-Wan would have turned the tide of this battle.
Yeah.
You're part of this world. Oh, Mary.
I love the different facial hairs on the ends. Oh man.
George just posted on Not a Blog.
Oh, what did he post? Something about wildcards, I hope.
Three more chapters completed this past week, and good progress on several more. Still a long, long way to go, though. Do not get too excited.
Why? Why does he?
Why
post
does he
shit
have
like
to
that?
like? Yeah.
What the-
I'm adding up the chapters that he's done and released and said that he's finished. This book's going to be 700 chapters.
Yeah.
In my copious spare time, just to troll us, he's been doing some editorial groundwork on 3 new Wildcards books,
Perfect.
as well a whole bunch of other stuff. So,
Yay.
anyway,
It's fine. I mean, you know.
me and the frog are headed back to Westeros. Current mood is busy. What a
The frog?
Yeah, well, because he has a
should've-
picture of Kermit the Frog at the top of it. The
Oh.
title is "This Writing Stuff is Hard."
Oh,
Oh, god damn it.
I think he's
So-
constantly got people being like, "Aren't you done? There's a pandemic, George. Aren't you done?" So he has to put stuff out like this, being like, "I'm not done,"
Yeah.
when maybe he is getting close. But I don't know. I think
No.
he's been writing a lot more than he was before, which is great.
I think he
Yeah,
hates his
definitely
fans.
like it.
I think he hates his fans.
Well, I don't think he hates all his fans, but I do think there are fans that probably have given him a reason to kind of be bitter. You know?
do not trust the hope. It has forsaken these lands.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, there's so much content all the time that I'm like, I want wins, and we'll get it in some form eventually. But
We won't.
we will. I don't know about anything beyond wins, but we'll get wins. We'll get whatever he's done at the very least.
See, this is
A bit
nice.
like
Someone
the-
who'd been a member of the forums for ages but never posted that's just posted on the Discord. That's kind of nice. Some
Ooh,
people will
fancy.
find
Who is
that.
it?
Some people will
Who
find
is
that
it?
Quaithy from Ashai.
Ah.
So some
Okay.
people will find it an easier thing to use because they're more familiar with it. Oh, punch to the eye.
That feels
Again,
like
jumping
Oh.
into
a
a sea
Flynn
of
move there.
spears.
Battering ram for the win.
Yeah, exactly. How do they just avoid all those spears? Or not get impaled by a sword?
Yeah, it's time to fight, you think? Fucking idiots.
And this blessed shot is the last we see of the elves.
Theoden being a bit of a badass.
He takes one little lick and has to retreat.
Yeah, but he's an old man. And also, like, there's no point in the king dying. That's going to just demoralize everybody.
So is this what they're calling like a postern gate?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
so.
it. Postern means, I think, back gate or side gate or something. Doesn't it?
It's like it would.
Gimli and Aragorn. Don't tell the elf. Nobody tosses a dwarf. Brilliant. Like two men are literally gonna fight off like endless
Yeah.
column of orcs. It's so stupid.
But I think that's the advantage of fighting in a narrow passage. Like a very small amount of people can fight off a larger
yeah, but just
attack.
stamina. At some point, your arm will get tired, and then there's another 1,000 orcs behind.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole Dunedain heritage, right?
Yeah,
and
the
dwarves
blood
don't
of
get
Numenor.
tired.
The blood
Yeah.
of Numenor keeps you going and going.
Yeah.
No caffeine needed.
And dwarves are supposed to be like very I don't know, their endurance is supposed to be very high thing.
Apparently
I mean,
so.
they need Faramir because he was part of the 300.
That shot, for example, you can see the progression of the battle quite well. Like, it's very clear that there's the outer wall and then there's the inner keep, and it's slowly losing ground. It's getting more desperate.
Yeah.
Good visuals.
How are they going to get out of there? Oh, if no one could throw a sword or like shoot an arrow.
Yeah.
Guys, we can't get lost in just watching. You have to chat.
Sorry.
So everyone is retreating up the stairs and back into the inner curtain wall of Helm's Deep because the outer wall has been breached.
Oh, here's Pippin being clever.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is so tricksy. This doesn't happen in the books, right? They don't have to be wily like this.
No,
Yeah.
and the books say they decide to go to
really.
war.
Yeah.
Okay, it still takes forever, but
Yeah, I guess it gives more agency to our main characters, which is nice. But it kind of makes Treebeard into an idiot.
yeah. I like this. That doesn't make any sense.
And you are very small.
Yeah.
I always liked going south. Somehow it feels like going downhill.
Yeah.
So simple and wholesome. I don't know
Yeah.
what it reminds me of, but
It always reminds me of The Simpsons, where like Homer's Fantastic Voyage or whatever, when he trips out and doesn't think his true love is Marge, but then she's like, "I knew you'd walk down to the water because it's entirely downhill."
I knew him so well.
Yeah.
Faramir, let me go.
Ugh.
The desperation. All the hobbits are desperate, trying to persuade people who are bigger than them to do stuff. Nice
Yeah.
parallel. Sharp intake of breath. The trees are gone.
The fires of Isengard will spread, and all that is good and green in this world will be gone.
Aww.
Oh.
wizard should know better.
A wizard should freaking know better. Shame on him. A wizard should know better. That sort of anguished Ent scream is so beautiful.
That's his Dave
My favorite part
Matthews.
is like the Ents don't do anything quickly, and as soon as he calls them, they ran from the other side of the forest.
I love how, because we in VOC have call to arms when we want to do podcast episodes, and that was literally a call to arm.
Oh boy. Ents marching. Little baby.
Call the banners.
That is very freaking cool. It's pretty iconic. There's so many iconic moments. I was saying to my husband, I think this may be my favorite of the films. So many good scenes.
Yeah, so we get Fangorn on the move, a little extra bit. And then we see Fangorn later when it starts taking up all the orcs, and they're like, "Where'd this forest come from?"
I love Treebeard's line coming up.
You know, one thing that's interesting is they found like I think it was like a couple decades ago or something, but not. It was well after Tolkien had written these books. They always thought trees would like steal from each other. They'd get more shade or more sun and steal nutrients, and like they were always competing. But they found most forests, like most types of trees, different types, actually communicate together and even like share nutrients across the forest, like almost like a network.
Yeah, the mycelium,
yeah.
Mycelium network, like, it's interesting, like, they can sense something like a tree falling and send spores there, like, immediately.
Like, to help the ones that are having issues. Yeah. Because, and again, for forever, scientists assumed that it was like, well, this tree's grown tall because it got more sun and it soaked up all the nutrients. This other tree didn't. Which is, not really the case most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with my front garden and build what's called a tree guild. And basically it's just an interactive ecosystem that benefits every other plant. So every plant has a mission, and it somehow benefits the whole area.
Do they have, like, designs for that?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of permaculture blogs and stuff like that you could find tree guilds or food forests, stuff like that.
In Osgiliath now,
For some reason.
Frodo has lost his sense of hearing.
And Faramir continues to be the worst.
It's like an explosion went off and then Frodo couldn't hear.
I mean, come on, they built this huge set for Osgiliath.
What?
They had to use it, right?
Faramir sends a mighty gift. What? There you go, Sam.
Oh, that's a lot of information to let out in front of all those guys.
Sam is so cool in this scene.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Gets up on his soapbox.
Because they're all like, whoa, what?
Truth to power, Sam.
Yeah, that's one of his best moments, I think. Where they're about to be carted off. And Elijah Wood does this very weird, like, I'm evil now, sort of, but also drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like that creepy child look, almost.
He just looks like he's ODing on heroin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like every, like, emu band, like, lead singer there.
What did I see him in? I think he was like a little kid in Back to the Future 2 or something the other day I was watching.
I don't know. Let's look it
I think
up.
he was like a kid at like the 80s malt shop when they went to the future.
I think there is a movie about Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin where one of them is like an evil kid.
Yep. Yep,
This might be my favorite scene in any movie ever. Fourth Erlingus.
My stepmom took me to that because, like, I think they were like two. Macaulay Culkin was like the popular kid star at the time. Like, that movie was not for kids. I was too young for that movie.
No, it definitely
creeped me out.
according to IMDb, Elijah Wood's been in 110 different things.
Yeah, this whole scene when Theoden is sort of lost to despair and Aragorn stirs him out of it, it's so fucking good.
But it's beautiful because if Theoden hadn't taken the time to teach him about hopelessness and being an inspirational leader, Aragorn now repays that courtesy by inspiring him. And it's the same with, Frodo kind of having mercy on Gollum and then Gollum kind of saving Frodo. Well, not intending to, but...
And there was that line.
True.
What
Right
can men
out
do
wisdom.
against such reckless hate?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I
You're,
love that
you're right,
line.
Adam. He is in Back to the Future too.
Yeah. What's the point of the caverns in Helm's Deep having an exit into the mountains? Like, wouldn't that like compromise them if someone could come in that way?
Well, to be up to fire code, you need 2 ways of egress. So that's
Yeah. Fire marshal's going to shut them down. You're not going to be able to have Zeppelin here on Friday night.
yeah.
The horn of Helm Hammerhand shall sound in the deep one last time.
Oh, I love this.
I don't know why Gimli gets to sound it, but he does. So
This
pretty
is
cool.
this is another great moment. Yeah, so they can give this speech. That's why.
Yeah.
Gimli's like, shit. I love horns. I'm on it. And I don't really like
I know
riding.
where it
I don't
is.
like riding horses. So
Oh, fourth Aerlingus.
that horn is fucking epic. And the red
This is
dawn.
so
Ah.
fucking good.
Yeah.
When that horn is blown.
Oh,
Oh, this is so good.
Oh,
Oh, chills.
Chill. Point of
I'm
view
not
shot
sure
riding
why
out
you are.
horses. Oh my god, this is so good. This is like a geek
You're like, I don't care if there's
orgasm.
only 10 of them. Look what they do.
It is
Oh.
my favorite scene.
It is my
This
favorite.
is so good.
yeah.
So-
This is why too.
I've watched this scene so many times.
This is
Oh.
undoubtedly, indubitably the best scene of this film.
And
Where
the music
Gimli
when
is
they
left to
go
die
through
in the Hornburg.
yeah.
But when they just like popping orcs off the bridge left and right,
Oh
and
my
the
god.
music is so good.
And just riding into a sea of orcs.
Yeah.
I was just
Oh yeah, and the
And
Yucca
then
catastrophe.
Gandalf in the sunlight, like the Messiah
Sunlight on the
risen on the
fifth day.
third day.
Jesus is here. I mean, Gandalf.
Tolkien, you little shifty author, you.
Theoden King stands alone.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
None of them.
Oh,
Oh, shit.
oh, you're real fucked now,
Guys.
orcs.
It's like I like it when in Helm's Deep it's like all old men and young boys, and then when Eomer, like the strongest warrior, comes back with all the mightiest fighters, and it's like this kind of like
It's an avalanche, man.
it's like
Although the angle of the slope is
Rejuvenation, kind of.
somewhat unreal.
Ah, right.
Oh, the
Get
hot
ready for
how
the
are the
sunrise.
horses not just sliding down?
hot lights.
Because
Again,
these horses are trained very well.
you still really shouldn't run down a hill against hot
Yeah,
lights.
exactly. Again,
The
with
t-
running down
20-foot spears downhill.
spears.
I mean, basically what you're saying is if you're in the front 2 rows of the horses, you're going to get killed and then everyone will trample
see,
over you.
The first time I saw this, I'm like, shit, Gandalf called the sun. And I'm like, oh, no. He's just fucking sneaky as shit and knows his timing.
dawn has
Like,
ever
yeah.
been the hope of men.
And the Ents are at war. This is
Having a
also-
rock throwing contest.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's also pretty cool, but like not as cool. Yeah, playing football. Playing Premier League soccer with all...
I was like, you have a bunch of these big lanky ants, and then you have like 1 or 2 of those like little stubby dudes.
Yeah. Oh no,
I
Ents
ju-
get killed.
I do love how
this
the
is
orcs
like
are just trying to hack at them with axes.
representative
Uh-oh. Saruman forgot about the ends.
It's the organic versus the industrial. It's so good.
Saruman's like, get my army back, quickly!
Love me some eco-terrorism.
Did you see the belly on that man? It was like,
Yeah, man.
it was
Like,
an
you see the belly button?
Yeah.
Do you think this is what
Why-
Extinction Rebellion people dream about at
Do
night?
do Ents do Ents have like an umbilical to cut when they're born? Why was there a belly button?
I don't know. I appreciate a belly button.
Release
Oh, this guy
those
breaking the
people.
dam.
Yeah,
Unleash
bitches.
the river.
Oh, look,
Now this I think is
one-
model work right here, and the way, however they shot this is just like
It's
they got that
phenomenal
high-speed
model
camera
work.
at slow mo.
Yeah. Really great. Technically superb. Now they do it all on CGI and it wouldn't look as good as this.
I mean, they obviously probably had some CG touch-up, but this is like this looks like they just did it, to scale with high-speed cameras.
Yeah.
I like the one dude that's on fire that head bangs himself right into the water.
Oh,
Yeah, he's always my favorite.
I always remember that scene. Like,
Gotta put the fire out.
There he is. Ah.
The
Feels
fire
good, man.
quencher.
They're just all washed down to the deep.
Yeah.
What about the people that didn't realize what was going on and they've just been down below making
The
swords or whatever?
independent contractors working on the Death Star at the time of it's being blown up.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit!
this is,
A bunch of orcs in the break room having coffee, like, oh.
You think Saruman will give me off Monday? It's my birthday.
this is very true to the books. Like, that's what they do. The Ents just, like, flood Isengard.
Yeah.
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 It's
They
Frodo
wash
coming
everything
on
the
out.
high.
second stone I can master.
But we have a wizard here.
Oh, here we go. Faramir's about to learn what's going on with Frodo.
Carry the load.
This is a pretty good scene with
Slow-mo
Frodo and the
Sam.
fell beast.
Yeah, the way it kind of
It's
comes
right
up
there.
from below is very cool.
Yeah, the Nazgul are always cool. I really like that design.
He's just like, is this what you
Oh,
want?
look at
with
those
this ring?
fingernails.
The worst horror in these movies.
Have to comment
But
on that.
it's all
So
educating Faramir. This is such a
These-
beautifully framed
Yeah, the
shot.
nails in that Nazgul need to be cut. You're right, man.
And Sam trying to prevent him because he's just awesome. No, Master Frodo! Sam is the true hero.
Oh, yeah. Sam is the hero of these.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Faramir's like, we almost just delivered the fucking ring to the enemy.
Don't take your knife out on Sam. Oh, that's the saddest bit of the whole film.
Why does he still have his sword?
It's
Why wouldn't
me,
you have your
your
sword?
son.
Because
They
they're
didn't
Prisoner,
disarm
he
them?
shouldn't have a
Prisoners.
sword.
It's your
Yeah.
Sam.
It's your Sam.
It's
Your
heartbreaking.
gardener. Let me garden.
Quite similar to the scene with Bilbo and Frodo in Rivendell, where he goes all Gollum-y.
Yeah.
And the sting they made for the movie is a beautiful little dagger.
Bina has it.
Yeah, I've got one in a box somewhere.
Yeah, White Raven and Mrs. White Raven gave me a really amazing and really sharp version of that sword for our wedding present, and it's up in my dining room.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cool. And you could do real injury with it as well. Like, I feel
Oh yeah,
So beware if you're ever dining with Bina.
Yeah, don't break
Yeah.
don't break into Bina's
I've
house.
got that somewhere. I used to have Theoden's sword, and I used to have Narsil somewhere. But I think I sold both of those. Couldn't have swords hanging on the wall with an infant. I kept.
Oh yeah,
staying.
you can. It's a lesson they'll quickly learn.
Yeah,
After a few fingers.
Yeah.
someday.
This voiceover is great. And when the
I always wanted to get Glamtring. That was always my favorite.
The Glamdring's a beautiful sword, definitely.
I almost bought that, and when we were at Con of Thrones, there was the guy there that makes all the swords, like the official swords for the show, and so they had they had a really nice version of Longclaw.
This is the best speech that Sam gives.
This feels, I mean,
The
this is like
stories
the
that
core
mean
of
something.
this is the core of the trilogy, right? You know?
It's the core of the books.
Yeah.
And that's why people read these books now.
Yeah.
There's struggle, but we don't stop.
Because you're holding on
And I
to
thi-
something good.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to that sentiment in the books that in all lands love is now mingled with grief, but
Yeah.
grows
Yeah.
perhaps the greater.
Well, he also says like like in all the old stories, and it's like, well, actually, our story is part of the old stories. Like it just keeps on going, and people come in and out of it.
Finally, Faramir sees the truth.
But he says it in the most backhanded manner.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? At last we understand one another?
Maybe the adapters felt that they had to have Faramir let him go in this really uber dramatic way to up the stakes of the fact that his life is now forfeit or something.
I think I like Nadia's idea that they built this Osgiliath. They want to use it. The horns.
Yeah.
I like how they shiver and shake, and then that's it.
Yeah, it's one of the creepiest scenes. Even Gandalf's looking a bit sketchy. He's like, oh, I don't want to really go in there.
It's like the OG smoke monster or something.
The sound mixing, the Foley editors who did the sound effects with this are just superb.
Yeah, it does remind me of the smoke monster in Lost, and it's kind of contemporary to that show as well.
Oh, my hero, you're so dreamy. Here we go.
And this scene implies that Gimli knows what a nervous system is. Dwarves know biology.
I love how Legolas has an ever-refreshing mound of arrows in his backpack. Oh. That's also a very good line. It was twitching because he's got my axe embedded in his head.
I actually never picked it up until Peter just said that. Actually, why would he know what a nervous system is?
Yeah, I don't know like how long that has been sort of a concept that people have thought of. Like my mind jumps to sort of Victorian England, where they did a lot of like these autopsies to figure out how the human body works. But I guess Leonardo da Vinci did a bit of that as well.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff, but especially like around the 1800s, like that kind of spurred Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Is the experiments by what's his name, Galvani or something like that, some Italian guy that was working with electricity and like making frogs' legs twitch and.
Oh yeah, where the word galvanism comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I would like to have that pantry.
Hobbit heaven.
This is Hobbit heaven, right? Just a big pantry.
And barrels of pipe feed.
And yet they don't get the evil, sinister implications of why Saruman has all this like Shire stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we don't either in the books until the hobbits go back to the Shire.
Yeah, and you never do in the film, right? Because they never show it, so it doesn't really matter.
So we're actually growing. We have, I think, 2 tobacco plants, and I can't wait to dry them out and see if they smoke. Oh, they're laughing a lot and there's smoke coming out. What kind of weed are they smoking?
I mean, they
from
evidently
So
South
I never
Park.
knew this. So I never knew this, but in Islamabad, which is Pakistan's capital, cannabis just grows everywhere like a weed. Like it's literally everywhere.
That's awesome.
Oh, brilliant.
They're like, "Oh, could you just smoke tonight and just pull it off on the way in?" I mean, I take it it's not illegal then, obviously.
Oh, probably
Well,
smoke it.
nobody's harvesting it. It's a weed.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there are people harvesting it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the people who know about it, like everyone can't just recognize a plant, right? But there are people. So the government has actually had to like be very careful about removing it from places because there were too many people just,
So
Downwind of the smoke
getting
and
high.
does it
Yeah,
become
because
contraband
if
when
it was
you rip it
illegal,
out?
you'd think they'd be ripping them up and burning them out.
what I was amazed by is that my pot plants actually smell like pot, like before they're even flowered.
Amazing.
Shelob.
Faramir is quite rough with Gollum here.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
He has not long known this lurker.
Kirithungol, is that its name?
Oh yeah.
That is a little like overly violent toward him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of unnecessary.
Oh, so I'm trying to be a little bit conciliatory.
Yeah, a bit late for that.
But really, he's watching out for his own ass because he's like, oh, no hard feelings, right? Fat hobbit.
It's all very spooky.
Oh, Legolas got some new digs.
Yeah, he wears that little bit of armor in Helm's Deep and has the sword as well, but he loses it later on.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, mic drop, Gandalf.
They do indeed lie with two little hobbits.
This forest is so uninviting.
Yeah.
Just
I
so
think,
spiked, dead grass everywhere.
Well, I think it was a forest fire had ripped through there. That's why there's like little patches of low green in the background.
Cool.
But yeah, I think it was supposed to be like representative of a forest that's like kind of recently under the control of Mordor because it's not fully dead yet. But
Yeah, sort of corrupted and dying, withering.
Oh, I like the scene.
Samwise the Brave.
You know what I just realized is Frodo doesn't have a backpack. Only Sam's carrying a backpack.
Oh yeah, Sam's doing all the heavy lifting.
He's like a human Sherpa. That's so unfair. Here we go. The Revenge of Gollum. But I love this. I found this so fascinating the first time I watched it, this internal debate. Loyalty versus betrayal and treason.
So really, the Two Towers ends after Shelob's Cave, and the choices of Masters.
In the books,
Gamgee.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after the Voice of Saruman as well.
Yeah.
It's
That's why
quite a different.
Return of the King felt so rushed because some of the stuff from Two Towers was in that, and then they had to compress all the endings, and it becomes a less satisfying, coherent watch, I feel. I'm kind of interested into, when we do Return of the King, how that feels. I haven't watched it all for a while.
What do you think? Like next week or 2 weeks or?
Do another 2 weeks time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still open. I'm not really having visitors.
Yeah,
I'm
same
open
here.
pretty much every weekend. So.
Yeah, I haven't anything planned for next Sunday yet, so I'm fine either way.
We could do it next Sunday. You're cool.
I could do it next
I
Sunday.
think I could do next Sunday. I'm trying to. I was supposed to be on vacation next week, but
Actually, 2 weeks after, I might not be able to do it because it will be Eid. So.
Okay, well then maybe we should try for next Sunday.
Okay.
yeah, I think my wife's working next Sunday, so I think I'd be free.
It's either next Sunday or
But we were going to be going to California next week, but
Why?
I obviously got canceled.
Oh, I was gonna say what?
Huh?
Why?
No, well,
Oh.
next week was supposed to be Comic-Con and stuff. Like
Oh.
San Diego Comic-Con, that's all been canceled. Everything, like California shut down. And then I thought, well, maybe we'll go to Florida. And while Florida's back open, I guess we could go back to Disney or something, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
So-
I just had to move entire lab. They're moving down to the University of Florida, and it was like, what a headache. Trying to logistically with like what the state's mandating, and oh god.
There's the shot, Mordor,
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
Door, directed by Peter Jackson.
Nice.
All right,
And
guys.
so you've suffered through this, and you're still here.
I don't think anyone's still here.
I love how it's only like it's actually just a 3-hour, 35-minute film, but compared to the actual runtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
guys.
Let's see.
Hey,
How
this
much
was
more
fun.
is left of credits?
This is ultimately my favorite of the 3 films, I feel.
Yes, I really enjoyed this. I always
Oh,
loved this movie.
Yeah. Two Towers is probably my favorite book and my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the Rohan stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The ride of the Rohan.
Yeah, the right and yeah, my favorite chapter in Return of the King is the Ride of the Rohirrim.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, the prose in that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
just the whole scene where Theoden rides into the battle. It's just it's amazing.
When he sounds the horn and it blows asunder or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
the host of Mordor fled and they died, and the hooves of wrath rode over them.
Yeah.
It's so great.
So good. But like basically everything I needed to see this month is just Theoden riding out with Aragorn on horseback down that ramp. Orcs
Poor
running left and right.
Theoden, guys.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the horn of Hammerhold or whatever it's called just ringing out.
Yeah, Helm Hammerhand.
Helm
Helm
Hammerhand.
Hammerhand, that's it. Oh, just so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, the whole speech by Theoden, well, I probably Peter remembers all of it, but where he says the horn shall. What does he say? I can't
Sound
remember
in the
that.
deep, one
Oh,
last
yes,
time.
sound in the deep. Exactly.
Yeah.
well, friends, this has been awesome. If you are still listening, lone listener,
Yeah.
we will do a third part of this. And if you listener would like to talk about Lord of the Rings with us, join the Discord server. Just hit us up with a message in the YouTube comments or on our WordPress site, and we will send you the link to join. All right, guys. Have a lovely weekend.
All right. You guys
Cool.
too.
Thanks.
I'm
Whatever's
going to
rest of
try
it.
not to melt.
What?
I will
What?
try.
Why are we melting?
We're in the middle of the
Probably.
heat wave.
It's 100 degrees.
Yeah, it was 84 this morning at 7 when I woke up.
Huh, did you know John
Yeah.
Rhys Davis was the voice of Treebird? I didn't know
I did
that.
know that.
I did not know that.
I did not know that until reading these credits. Huh. Very cool.
Hugo Weaving as Elrond. Deuce to me.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I got to take off, though.
Yeah. Have a great weekend,
Yeah.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Bina.
Bye.
Bye.